Welcome into Boxing Scene today. Canelo Crawford, the pre-weigh-in show. Going to have a lot of fun with it today, and we have guests galore. Don't forget, hashtag Boxing Scene today. Get your comments in, your questions, and any comments about the man next to me. That's right, in studio, Paulie Malignaggi, Bob Santos. You see the empty chair at the end. That's for Chris Algieri. Should be coming in a few minutes, soaking wet because it's storming here in South Florida, so his flight got a little bit delayed, but he will be here. Guys, we tend to make mountains out of molehills here in boxing, right? We get a little press conference, we get a little weigh-in, we do whatever we need to do. This weigh-in, I think, very, very important. Why? One guy is a natural, thick 168-pounder. The other guy is not. How they look on the scale or how Crawford looks on the scale, I think, Bob, a really important story that a trainer like you, by the way, Trainer of the Year 2022, I'm sitting next to, this idea of you are going to be sizing these guys up in a way that you wouldn't if they were in the same weight class.
Sure. I think Canelo, he's going to rehydrate much bigger than Crawford for sure. But I think Crawford obviously going to make weight a lot easier. He's moving up the 2 weight classes, already moving up one before that. So that's basically 3. But I think Canelo, he'll probably be a little bit more drained than him, obviously, because I think he's going to rehydrate anywhere from about maybe 180 to 183, somewhere in there. And I think if Crawford's smart, he doesn't want to rehydrate that too big. I think he wants to stay in and around the 68-pound limit. I think if he rehydrates too much past maybe 72, 74 max, I think he's going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday on the press conference show. A lot of people are likening this to Roy Jones Jr. moving up to heavyweight to take on John Ruiz. He didn't try to get as big as John Ruiz. He knew his explosiveness, his speed carried the day. So how he managed his weight, very, very important. Is that going to be something you're looking at for this fight?
Yeah, I am. The interesting thing about the weigh-ins, the modern weigh-ins now, is it's the morning before. This is a ceremonial weigh-in. You know, the real weigh-in that's on the record was this morning already. So they do it again for the crowd. Okay. And, you know, it's not a real weigh-in anymore. They've already been eating all day and all this other stuff. So you actually get more time to rehydrate now. And that can work for or against you. You know what I mean? So and I think it's an interesting point Bob makes because, you know, maybe Crawford shouldn't hydrate back too much, but you have more meals, more time to put back weight. So, you know, sometimes it's more difficult to, you know, not put on as much weight. It depends also what weight you've been training at. You know, I think a lot of times your body will return to the main weight you spent at camp, you know, before the dehydration process. And that can vary depending on how much you struggle. Obviously, I'm always expecting Crawford to have struggled too much to make this weight, but he looked ripped, you know, so I there was no extra fat around him. You know, I thought he looked good on the scale. But yeah, you expect Canelo to really put on a lot of weight. You know, Canelo is solid at the weight. He's been there for a while. So you would expect a good, I'd say 15 pounds, you know. And like I said, the extra time from the morning now, because again, the previous day weighing in the morning is new even to me, you know, because that wasn't happening when I was fighting. So I imagine it just adds poundage to whatever you're doing because it's definitely an extra meal. You get to have breakfast while with the old weigh-ins, you didn't get that breakfast.
You went into the ring.
You had to skip that until the weigh-in, you know? So it's an extra meal you get to have, and that can, you know, obviously affect your weight on the scale. The more time you have, I remember when I won my second world title, funny we were talking about it with, in Ukraine with Sachenko, the weigh-in was at night. And I remember the next day, you know, leaving my hotel room because I always carried a scale with me. And I was like 154, you know, leaving the hotel room for the fight, you know. So I didn't get a chance to put on too much weight. I used to put on 10 to 12 pounds, but because the weigh-in had been at night instead of midday, which was the custom in America by that point, I didn't put on as much weight, you know. So I think the further the official weigh-in is from the fight, the more weight you're probably going to put on because there's more meals, more time to hydrate and all this other stuff. So yeah, it's something that has to be checked. It's something underrated. You know, you have to check yourself a little bit because I think of offhand, James Toney and Roy Jones, you know. Yeah. Remember how fat James Toney looked in that ring? Yeah. Let's see what Robert has to say.
Well, it's going to be important. Robert Diaz, of course, matchmaker extraordinaire, joining us. So many guests lining up to talk about this fight because so much has been going on. Robert, thank you so much for joining us, man. What do you think of everything leading up to tonight? Of course, a press conference was yesterday. The size of this fight, absolutely incredible, man. What are your thoughts?
I'm excited, guys. I'm excited as a fan, as somebody that's seen Canelo grow through the years, seen his progress, somebody who didn't think this fight would materialize many years ago, but once it did, knowing really how even the fight is. I really didn't put a lot of emphasis on the weight. You know, early on, people, oh, it's a mismatch, too much of a weight jump. This now you see the shift. People are now shifting towards Crawford can pull it off. It's a 50-50 fight that I mean, obviously, I give some uh, advantages Canelo because he's fought at this weight class before. But let's remember that the greats in the past have been able to jump up in weight. And Crawford is one of those type fighters. He is a generational great. He's a kid that I remember a lot, reminds me a lot of a Marvin Hagler. Switches, has that chip on the shoulder. And let's remember, he doesn't know how to lose. He's undefeated. He has to be taught. So I don't really see a big, I don't see the weight being an issue here. I see a better fighter being whose hand's going to be raised on Saturday night.
But is there something you would look at now? Not necessarily the weight, but there have been questions last couple of days. Of course, people talk about, is Crawford too heavy? Is he, a little too thick? Whatever the deal is. Is there something physically you're looking at when you see him on the scale for a fight like this?
Well, I see that he's in great shape. And like Paulie mentioned, the difference is he probably ate throughout camp, was never cutting weight, always gaining strength, muscle, at the same time working on explosiveness. While Canelo has to cut weight, there's the advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, I agree with Paulie 100%. I don't see him going up too much higher on the rehydration between today and tomorrow, but that's going to help him be elusive. Look, we know that if you attack Canelo, he's an amazing counterpuncher. But if you box and move, that possesses problems for him. So Canelo's going to have to be on his A game. I believe we'll see the best Canelo we've seen in a few years because he does have a fighter in front of him that he can get up for. It's very tough to get up for a William Skull, and we saw it in the performance. So I think we changed the page. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to an amazing fight, a great event, and I think at the end of the day, Canelo's hand will be raised because he's the better fighter.
Bob, when you look at a fight like this, one of the factors with rehydration is the ability to take a shot. A hydrated fighter who isn't depleting themselves a lot to make weight can take a bigger shot than someone who is depleting themselves to make the weight class. What is your thought on Crawford if you're in his camp? You don't want him overhydrated. You don't want him slow. You don't want to put on a bunch of weight, but you want him full. You want him. You want that ability to take a big punches. Canelo throws big punches.
I think the best thing that he could have did if I was in his camp, as I would have said, hey, let's not worry about the size too much. Get in basic strength. Don't get too crazy. Don't overdo the weights and things of that nature. Just let your body naturally be where it's going to be. Even if he weighs in, let's say he weighed in 165. If that's where your body is, stay with that. Don't try to put on mass that shouldn't be there, because guess what? Now you're not rolling with punches as much. Yeah, you might be stronger, but you're taking the full blunt of the blow now. You're not slipping over here. You're not stepping over here. You're running out of gas. You have to stay there and take bigger shots. So for me, I would have used like the Mayweather blueprint where, even when Robert Guerrero, when we went up to 47, he was a 22-pounder. Then 26, when we went up to 47, what we did with him was we weighed 47, and on fight night, we'd be 45, and he still won the welterweight championship of the world. So I think if you try to over-rehydrate or try to be what you are not, and he has to stand there longer with Canelo in those spots, he's going to be in big trouble. I think that would be a big, big mistake for him to over-hydrate.
I think hydrating a lot or a little is advantageous depending on the boxing style as well. I think with Canelo, he's more heavy on his feet. He's more heavy-handed. Sometimes a guy like that overhydrating, it's advantageous. That he looks
Sure.
physically, especially in this fight. I think he's going to want to be the more physical guy. While with Crawford, it's the opposite effect, right? Like you're talking about. He's a nimble guy. He's an athletic guy, and so hydrating too much can offset the balance of that, the athleticism. So yeah, I mean,
I think it'd be a big mistake. I think it would be a big mistake for him to do that. If he does that, if he overhydrates, I think he's going to be in a world of hurt. Yeah, I really do.
So it's the advantages and disadvantages come, I guess, fighter to fighter, style to style, But
Look who decided to show up. Look who
at the cat
decided to walk in whenever they feel like it. Chris
Welcome, Chris.
Algieri. Welcome, champ. But Robert, a question I got to ask you. I know you got to go. I got one more for you. The idea of what round do you think is that aha moment going to happen? I think we know what kind of fight we're going to have in, let's say, the first 4 rounds. Do you think it's going to take a little while for them to warm up? Do you think this is a fight that's going to be decided in the last few rounds? What's your thought on it?
I thank you. I love that question because I do see the first half chess match. 2 individuals with very high IQ. 2 individuals that really want to win and that believe they can win. So I believe the first half of the fight will be a chess match, maybe even going 1 round to each. One guy wins, the next guy shifts over. But after the 6th round, because I do believe also that Canelo's going to start much faster than usually, start letting his hands go, start landing combinations. They don't have to be powerful, just touch, touch, touch. And in the second half, that will break Crawford down. I truly believe that in the later part of the fight, Bomac will save his fighter like he should. In the 10th or 11th round, it's over.
Wow.
Robert, there's an offsetting question, though. If you try to move your hands too much against Crawford, he's counterpunching you as well. Is there an offset? Crawford's sense of timing, which has really been unbelievable, it's one of his best assets, counterpunching and making you pay for trying to be too active. Does that result in the possibility of Canelo going back to diminish his output numbers?
No, I think Canelo will really invite that because that's what he's been wanting from the opponents. Like, let's engage. And, in the last few fights, it hasn't been the dance that we want because of the opponent.
But he chose the opponent, Robert.
Well, but all of them. Yeah, Charlo went in there. I believe Charlo went in there to win until he got hit.
Yeah.
Berlanga had a lot of weight advantage, but he boxed a lot. He didn't come to trade. I'm not saying Crawford will trade, but I don't see Crawford backing up either.
Yeah, Crawford's
there is going to be a moment.
Crawford's not a mover. I don't expect him to be using lateral movement. He's he's also a very physical guy, and he's going to stand in front. And his ability to use fade in and out, his ability to use hand position, hand fighting, and his advanced wrestling background, honestly, that's a big part of this as well. We saw that in the Spence fight. His ability to offset even a stronger man. I think Spence was actually stronger than him that night, but the way he was able to position himself, he put himself in stronger positions that Spence wasn't aware of. I'm looking to see if Crawford can do that with Canelo. Robert, I don't know if you know. I've been in the gym. I've been in the ring with Canelo. I know how strong he is physically. His stance, his base. He's a very, very strong guy. I'm curious to see how much bravado Crawford shows. Is he going to be I'm the stronger guy. I want to show you how strong I am, because I think that might hurt him.
Well, I saw him take a page out of Bernard Hopkins's book. Mm-hmm. In the first press conference here in Vegas about a month and a half ago, when he goes and tries to back off Canelo, I think he was trying to measure the strength at that point. I
agree.
And this is before camp. He was just trying to see if he can back him up. And whether it was intentional or not to psych himself out or something, he did back off Canelo a little bit. So I agree with you, Chris, that the physicality of him from the wrestling days and everything, it's gonna play a part.
Robert, thank you so much for your time, man. Appreciate you. Have a great time. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy everything out there in Vegas, man.
Hey, Robert, one thing
Thank
before
you
you
so
go,
much, guys.
Robert,
I appreciate you guys.
One thing before you go. Tremendous job that you did over there at Golden Boy building Canelo's career and getting him to this point, because you played a big role in where he's at today. Kudos to you, my man.
Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you, man. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Robert, appreciate it. Hey, cool with the sunglasses, Chris. Love that. Just
it's been a long day, man.
Long day on the plane.
Business.
That rock star life is tough for you.
You travel a lot. You get caught on flights. Everything get delayed. I'm delayed. I'm tired. Whatever. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Well, glad to be here, my man. One of the things we were talking about before you got here is weigh-ins. They're a lot of fun. Whatever. We like watching. We tend to make mountains out of molehills, but this is one of those where when they stepped on the scale, looking at them, there's an edge to it because of the going up 3 weight classes. How they look physically is just kind of magnified. Yesterday when we were looking at the press conference, just the size of Canelo's neck made us go, man, look at the size of that guy's neck. Well, you kind of overestimate everything because of the disparity in real weight classes. What's your thought on that, Chris?
2 things. Number one, I don't make mountains out of molehills. I think weigh-ins are really important. And I normally don't make predictions until I see guys on a scale. Because so many things can go wrong at a camp. And a lot of times you can
including
see
even after the weigh-in.
You can see it on a scale. A lot of times, if there was an issue in camp, you see it on the scale, especially if you know these guys and you know the athlete themselves. But also,
like what? Here's what I'm curious about, because I'm from MMA. They cut a ton of weight. I'm from wrestling. They cut a ton of weight. Little things I look for. How fast do they reach for the water? Is somebody helping them stand up? Little thing that maybe in the audience you don't notice.
So we don't do real weigh-ins anymore. This is
all ceremonial. But what I mean is, in an actual weigh-in, those are things I look for. Is how much that kind of.
But I look for it in the ceremonial now too, because I'm like, how much water is he holding? How much? Like, does he look still lean? Is he carrying extra? Because if you have a bad weight cut, Jimmy, I know you know this. If you have a bad weight cut and you put on too much weight, you look fleshy immediately. In a couple hours.
You gotta sleep it off.
Yeah. So you see guys, they'll look a little fleshy, and you see that MMA guys too because they gain a lot of weight.
Yes.
So I look for things like that. And I look for aura. I look for the sunken in eyes, because even in ceremonial weigh-ins, you'll see that.
Oh, check that out, Chris.
Chris nervous.
Is that why the sunglasses? Is that why you have the sunglasses? Nervous?
Chris nervous. Crawford is good. I didn't say. Who said that? That's not Chris me.
You picked Crawford, yeah.
That's not Chris me.
That was at boxing analyst just made that.
You mentioned yesterday Crawford was your pick.
Yeah, and people were saying that
Crawford is still my pick.
Yeah, there you go.
I was
at boxing analyst.
But boxing analyst says you look nervous about it now.
No. Crawford's still my pick. Getting iced though. No one. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, regardless, we're going back to the weigh-ins and how I think they're important. Right. Now let's talk about weigh-ins historically. What are they for? You're looking at the athletes. You're looking at the product. Yeah. You're looking at what you got. They're on a stage naked, so you can look at them and be like, all right, that's my guy, and the betting lines will change based on that. That's why I don't like to make my predictions until I see weigh-ins. Now, speaking of this particular weigh-in, they both look awesome. They both look really good.
But Canelo's going to look a lot bigger tomorrow, no?
100%. Canelo's going to gain more weight. They both weighed the exact same today, which they're not going to weigh tomorrow. They're not going to weigh the same tomorrow. I'm expecting Canelo to be up. He was 67.5, low 80s.
So even for the ceremonial, will we see a difference? Like the one we're going to see now?
That's a really good. I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like 12 hours, right?
We're going to see at least a 10-pound difference just at the ceremonial.
Both of them are going to be 10 pounds. I think actually Crawford's going to look great.
Answer the question we just got from,
you think Crawford's
from William
here? That heavy, huh?
Read that question. What about Crawford? What do you think he walks in?
I think he's in the mid-70s.
Really?
70s.
73, 75.
5-6 pounds.
Which is what Bob was saying. 72, 74.
Yeah. I was going to say, I originally said 72, 73.
Trouble.
But I could see 73, 75 max. But, so I remember this too. Like, I would weigh in on the day, be like, I'm checking my weight. By the time I warmed up, I was 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds down. So he might
warm up in the dressing room.
Weigh 75. By the time he steps in the ring, he's probably 72.5.
Because you lose a couple of pounds warming up for the fight. Yeah.
I think he better stay there.
I agree. I don't think gaining the weight was a good idea.
If he goes above that, he's going to get iced.
Yeah, I don't like
he's going to get iced.
Crawford.
If he goes above 75, 76, I think he's going to get iced. If he stays at 72, I think he has to fight the perfect fight to win the fight. Mm-hmm. Canelo can get away with making more mistakes. I think Crawford has to fight he can do it. He has to fight the perfect fight. But if he does that, the rehydration, he's too big, and he has to stand there and trade with Canelo.
Does the recent level of opposition matter? I was thinking about this today, or is the layoff so long for Crawford that it doesn't matter? Because the recent level of opposition for Crawford is Spence and Madrimov, way higher than what Canelo has been fighting. Which is what, Berlanga and Munguia. All right, so does that matter, or is
Skull.
it?
I know it's easy to forget the Skull fight.
Skull, that's right. So Skull,
you're like, oh yeah, Skull,
Skull and Berlanga, yeah.
That
as opposed to Madrimov and Spence, even though Or does the layoffs between those fights so long that even Crawford's recent level of opposition being higher doesn't make a difference?
I go with the fact that he struggled against Madrimov as being a real positive. Digging deep, and I keep comparing. I compare the Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol and the Terence Crawford versus Madrimov fight like 1-to-1. We saw Canelo down late, and instead of going for it, he goes, this guy's better than me tonight. Madrimov and Crawford was on his way to lose that fight, and goes, nope, I'm going to win these last 3 rounds and pull this out of the fire.
Well,
he went for it. I think that test over the fire matters.
Oh, I got a question for both of you guys. The competition, they may have been better fighters in their weight class.
Right.
But do you think Madrimov could go up and beat a Berlanga at 68?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
even though he's not fighting the level of
I'm
competition,
going to say flat out.
That's
no.
a big Berlanga.
I'm going to say flat out no.
So then,
But
even though he's
Berlanga,
fought
but what's
the higher
Berlanga's
of
level? I mean,
competition,
but
you get what I'm saying? You're still fighting
but
those
you
guys at that.
what I'm saying is, what's
Great
Berlanga's
point.
best win, guys? Like, who is
No,
Berlanga?
I got that,
You know what I mean?
but I'm
Like,
saying, could
and
those
listen,
guys go up
Edgar, I love you.
even
You're from New York. I hope he recovers well and everything. But what's the best win Berlanga has on his record?
His best win was his loss to Canelo.
No, his best win.
No. His best win. Well, if you go by a ticker tape parade,
what I'm saying is, he had no business being in the ring with Canelo in the first place. I love Robert and his assessment of he couldn't get up for these opponents. Dude, you're picking the opponents. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? You know what I mean?
Point,
You're the guy picking the opponents. You know, when you're Canelo, you can do whatever you
Skull
want.
fight when he went, he ran for me. Like, dude, he was a runner to begin with.
So with that, again, go back to my question though. Is there too much of a layoff for it to matter, the level of opposition? Because I also tell myself this. He didn't look great against Madrimov, but prior to Spence, didn't he also have a long layoff prior to Spence?
Yes, there was.
And he looked great in the Spence fight. So at what point was it Madrimov then that made him look bad and not the layoff? Because the layoff against going into the Spence fight.
I argue that we underestimate how good Madrimov actually is.
Yeah.
I thought he just boxed really smart, and he's a good fighter, and he's tough.
And he's awkward. In a
Yeah,
lot
he's
of
very
ways.
hard guy
up
to
and
do.
down. He's always moving.
Yeah.
He's
another question.
strange style.
You know, we talk about Canelo, bigger guy, physical. That's been sort of the discussion, right? The rehydration. Canelo's going to be strong. Is that what Canelo's banking on? Is Canelo's, because we haven't brought up any of the boxing. I know I get flack for not putting Canelo on a certain level of boxing, but I don't see anybody else talking about Canelo's ability to box with Crawford. Like, nobody's talking about that. Like, so does everybody think Crawford is that much more superior to him boxing wise, and it's just going to come down to the weight? So basically, if this fight were between two natural welterweights, would it be one sided, or is it just the weight that is making this fight intriguing? Or does Canelo actually have boxing ability that can trouble Crawford?
I have an answer for you because I do these power stats on my social media, and I have power, speed, chin, defense, boxing IQ. The flack I got for picking Crawford as having a higher boxing IQ shows you.
No, the best, bro. The best, bro. If Crawford beats this guy's ass, the best, bro. You guys better not even tune in next week. I'm telling you right now, because I saw the flack. You guys gave me.
Right.
You want to interpret things your own way. When I compared Canelo to John Ruiz, I was comparing this version of Canelo to that John Ruiz. At this point in his career, I wasn't comparing Canelo in his prime. I was comparing the Canelo now to basically it's the same kind of choice in that it's a little bit lesser, diminished.
I
version.
didn't see how that one was going to go well.
Regardless, you can interpret it the way you want. You can choose to be offended by saying I compared Canelo at his best to Ruiz, bro. When he gets his ass kicked, do yourselves a favor. Don't tune in next week. do yourself a favor. I'm telling you right now.
Tune in next
because
week.
Please
still tune in next week.
No, they're gonna tune in anyway because they're dying to see what I say. They're dying. They can't help it. But I'm just telling you now. The physicality could be the difference in the fight. I'm wondering from you guys though, is there boxing ability? Bob, what do you think? Can he box with him? Can he? Is there something else besides the physicality that should trouble Crawford? Like, does Crawford have anything else to worry about besides? Oh, power because he's bigger and physicality because he's bigger. Is there anything Crawford boxing-wise has to worry about?
Well, you got to remember, Canelo has 60-some-odd fights. Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And within that experience, he will set some traps.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have fast feet. I know that but he has fast hands.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
And he does have a good ability with all that experience. Like I said, I've seen him up in Big Bear where he can catch you in spots and he can set traps and lull you into something. And if he does that, as far as that goes with the boxing, you're doing well till you're not doing well.
Bob, you know what? If my aunt had bowls, she'd be my uncle.
No,
But in 67 pro fights, Canelo has had, what traps did he set against master boxers that came to win?
He got a lot of
Canelo didn't come to win. Master boxers that come to win. What traps were set there? You're like, whoa, what a trap. Oh, my God. What a trap he set against that slick boxer.
He trapped Amir Khan with that nasty-ass right hand.
Yeah, but maybe not so small.
Yeah, but I'm
Not
just
the one
saying.
with small.
But so is Crawford. He's small, too.
But
He's not a big guy either.
Well, I mean, if
He's not a big guy either.
If we're going one for one,
Billy Joe Sanders, he set his ass up with
Khan.
that. Billy Joe Sanders, he set his ass up with that nice uppercut.
Billy Joe Sanders
knocked
is
his
the one.
down.
Saunders.
Okay,
Saunders.
and he
Saunders.
broke
What
his
is it?
eye
Saunders.
socket.
Yeah, Saunders.
He set his ass up with a
But
nice
did he set him up? Because I remember that shot. Saunders threw the left hand from too far away. Did anything Canelo do make Saunders throw that left hand from too far away to set him up for the counter? Was there something, or was it Saunders' mistake? Because I remember that shot. That was Saunders overcommitting to a left hand.
No, I was there that night, and Paulie. Saunders was winning rounds. He was winning rounds.
But the left hand got.
I did. When I was there,
I thought he was winning the
guys.
The Canelo crew.
I gotta stop. This is why I got a squirt gun. I'm here to stop Paulie because we got Mikey Garcia. Thank you so much for joining us, Mikey. Paulie, don't say a word. I'll pop you right here in front of everybody. Mikey, thank you so much for joining us. Right into our discussion about the boxing technique, something you know very, very well. What do you think about this boxing, the IQ matchup between these two guys, Canelo and Crawford?
Look, I'm hearing the conversations, and everybody makes a good point. I think Canelo has had trouble with boxers. I think Canelo has found ways to win, but he's always showing that he does have trouble. He doesn't like a slick boxer. It complicates things for him. But eventually he figures, how to win, whether it's by volume of punches or maybe one punch, that hurts him. But overall, he seems to have problems with fighters going back to the Lara and even recent, Caleb Plant and Skull. Like I said, he doesn't really set up traps. He doesn't do that. Crawford, I think, will do that. He will be boxing. He'll be very effective. Crawford is one of the most skilled fighters that I've seen. Talented fighters. He can fight more aggressive if he needs to, but he prefers to box on the outside, uses height, uses reach. He also switches from left-handed to right-handed very effectively, very natural. So I think that's going to give Crawford more of an opportunity than a lot of people think.
When you look at it, this idea that Canelo has, I wouldn't say a puncher's chance, but certainly the physical advantages. If you're in there and you're Crawford, is it about, as Bob said, fighting the perfect fight for 12 rounds? Is it about maintaining discipline and not getting to a firefight? Psychologically, what's the edge for Crawford? What is he keeping in his mind during the fight, in your opinion, Mikey?
I think Crawford is thinking of going to 12 rounds. I think Crawford understands and knows that he's not bigger than Canelo. Canelo's been in it with some of the biggest fighters in those divisions, and he's taking all the punches and never even been dropped. So I don't think Crawford wants to trade, punch for punch and try to hurt Canelo. I think Crawford's game plan will be to box, counter punch, be very specific and very careful with punch selection. I think Crawford understands that he's had, 40 plus fights. He's very, very skilled in the ring, and he's seen it all. He's seen, guys that are strong. He's seen guys that are slick. He's dominated everybody. So I think Crawford has a much better opportunity than people think. People think that because Canelo is so much bigger and his size is the determining factor. I don't see it like that. Canelo doesn't use his size. He doesn't use his advantages in weight as much as he should or as much as he could. He likes to go on cruise control a lot and does barely the minimum to win. And I think that's going to allow Crawford to be more effective than people think.
Mikey, you talked about that some of the things Crawford could do to offset Canelo, specifically the switching of stances. I know two of the guys that are in camp with Canelo is Duran Ennis, which everybody knows about, and also one of our prospects here, Darrell Valsain, who's a very good fighter. And both guys are very good prospect as Valsain, but both guys are very good at switch hitting. Is there anything Canelo can benefit from? Maybe show us some surprisingly more preparedness for the switching of stances, being that he's had such capable guys in camp that switch very fluidly like them two?
Well, I think Canelo is training very well, and he's had a lot of experience with right-handed fighters and also against southpaws. But when he faces a southpaw, especially a boxing a southpaw that boxes on the outside, that likes to use the ring, that likes to use his legs, and is very skilled and counter punching, Canelo has a lot of difficulty. He doesn't put enough pressure. He doesn't put enough power behind it. We just saw him against Skull, and he kind of went on cruise control all night, and he didn't really put a lot of effort behind it. So that's the kind of thing that I think Crawford can take advantage and allow him to box more effective. I do think Canelo's size could be a factor. Yes, just like everybody else sees that the weight could be better, suited for Canelo. I mean, he is the naturally 168 pounder, whereas Crawford is obviously moving up. And if he does land a few punches, it could definitely turn it around for his favor. Canelo is much bigger, stronger naturally. That could be it. If he lands a couple of good shots early on, that could definitely, slow down Crawford, maybe a couple body shots, and Crawford, slows down, and now Canelo takes over. I just haven't seen enough of that from Canelo. We all believe he can do this. I believe he's capable of this, but I haven't seen it, not in the most recent fights, at least. And that's why I'm a little, iffy if he's going to be able to pull it off like that easily.
Yeah, Mikey, you're actually saying a lot of the things that I think me and Paulie have been talking about for the last couple of weeks. But I'm going to use you as an example. I remember you were fighting at maybe 126, 130 at the time, and you were sparring with Marcos Maidana, who is a huge 47 pounder. I was sparring him around the same time. I was in your brother's gym at the time, and I was sparring with Marcos a lot. He walked around. He was a big guy at 47, and your skill level was able to offset the size. How much of that do we have to deal with this situation? Because I don't think any of us has ever been in a ring with a guy like Crawford. He's the most dynamic, odd style I've ever seen, and his boxing ability, I think, transcends weight classes, and I think that's a lot of the reason why this fight is actually so intriguing. So just talk to that, man, in terms of how much skills pay the bills when it comes to just size. If you're just banking on size, Spence banked on just being bigger and stronger. Look how that worked out. If Canelo is just banking on that, I think he's in trouble.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And being that I was sparring a lot of bigger guys, even though I was a lot smaller, like you mentioned, I was at 130 when I was sparring Maidana. But yes, that's why I also believe that Crawford has that skill level to allow him to compete against a bigger man like Canelo, because Spence couldn't do anything to Crawford. Even some of these other guys, 154,
Madrimov,
dangerous, pretty big guys, and they didn't do anything to Crawford. And Crawford was still able to pick the right game plan, the right style that fits him and suits him the best. And I think that's going to allow him to fight more effective. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Against just like if Canelo does land a couple of shots, then he could definitely hurt Crawford. But I mean, I think Crawford is very skilled, very talented. It's hard to really go against Crawford when you know his skill level is such high level, you know?
And Mikey, you made a good point about the physicality of Canelo not really being used. He's not that kind of fighter, right? He doesn't really use his physical size to sort of impose on you, right? He's not a physical fighter. He's more of a boxer puncher, I guess.
He's a tactician.
Yeah, tactician. You know, you talk about when you spar Maidana. Maidana was the kind of guy that used physicality, you know, so there's more to deal with there.
He made a ring very small.
If Canelo was the kind of guy that was brought physicality to the table, maybe this becomes more of a talking point. But yeah, you know, people talk about the size, but a lot of this fight will be tactical. And so it's up to Canelo to actually come outside of himself and make it a little bit more physical, right?
True. We haven't seen Canelo. I believe Canelo is capable of a lot more. Because we've seen him in earlier years use more volume, more of his strengths, his size. But in the most recent fights, he's gone the distance. He's dropped his opponents and still allows them to continue and go 12 rounds. Where we really know and we believe he could stop him. He stepped on the gas a little bit more. You could stop this guy, and everybody would be, you know, way more happier with you. But he doesn't do that. He goes on cruise control. He does just enough, just the bare minimum, just to keep winning the rounds. And because he's been doing that, and also now he's getting a little older, he's taking care of his body more, maybe, doesn't want to risk getting injured or hurt. I think all of this is going to allow Crawford to be more effective than people think.
So the question for you, Mikey, then is: does Canelo sell out if he's behind? Like, to use a Bob Santos term, where Canelo has to sell out and go for it. If the cruise control is not working, if Crawford is ahead of him at the midway to 2/3 of the fight point, is Canelo going to sell out, or are we going to see another Bivol situation where he's content to go the distance and hopefully he can rob guys on the scorecards like he has at times?
Look, I would love to see him sell out and say, "Fuck it, go for it."
Because that's what makes you a Mexican. That's why a lot of these Mexican champions are criticizing him, right?
Yeah, look, I would love to see him do that, and I believe he's capable of, especially because he does have the weight advantage on fight night. He's gonna be a lot bigger than Crawford, naturally bigger and stronger. And I don't think Crawford has enough to hurt Canelo. I don't think Crawford has enough pop to hurt and drop or knock him out. So fuck it, go for it. If you're losing, if you're behind on the scorecards, 7 rounds or 8 rounds, and you don't see, Crawford slowing down, then you better fucking go for it. But do I believe that's what's gonna happen? I don't think so. I think he'll continue to just go in the rounds and let the fight play itself out and see what the scorecards do. Maybe someone gives them a draw and they leaves the door open for a second fight or even a third fight.
Like the first Golovkin fight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Like Golovkin.
Yeah, Mikey, thank you so much for your time, man. Appreciate it. Enjoy the fight, man.
You're welcome, guys.
Thanks, champ.
You guys.
All right, so this idea.
Wait, hold on. Hey, boxing analyst, where you at now? Huh? Am I nervous? Am I nervous now?
Yeah.
All right, I'm feeling really good about myself now.
Hashtag boxing scene today. Get your comments in. Let us know this idea too that power is going to be the size being an issue. Ring size a big issue.
Boxing analyst, good question.
Yeah.
In my experience, Vegas has a mandatory 20-by-20. That's the only state. Nevada is the only state where you can't negotiate the ring size. In my experience, I don't know.
Mandatory.
I don't know if you guys. No, I mean, yeah. Granted, they change rules for everybody. Boxing does whatever it wants, but in my experience, it's always been 20-by-20. There's been other states where I've had to deal with different rings. I remember I was in Houston fighting Diaz. They gave me a small ring. In the Garden against Cotto, they gave me a small ring. So you always had to wonder.
Well, they made an exception then for when we fought Floyd Mayweather. That was the biggest ring I ever seen in my life. I thought we were playing at Cowboy Stadium.
When I fought Pacquiao, the ring was gigantic.
The ring was enormous.
Yeah.
Now, everywhere else in my life, I've seen various size rings, even whether I fought or whether I've been experienced watching fights.
But for the most part in Nevada, it's standard. But with Mayweather, it was huge.
Yeah, I mean, 20-by-20 is pretty big, though, Bob.
No, it was big.
20-by-20 is pretty good size.
It was a hell of a lot.
I always liked 20-by-20
I would have been thrilled with a 20-by-20.
It should be a standard. I don't know why there's not a standard for a championship.
I'll tell you this. I walk every ring before we fight. Every ring, I'll walk it off. I'll walk off the steps. And I can tell you, it was a hell of a lot bigger than a 20-foot ring. It was an enormous ring.
Who does 20-by-20 favor? What do you think, Chris?
I don't think ring size is going to matter all that much between these two. Crawford's not a big mover. I think he is going to move at times, but these guys are so skilled. I think both of them. I know we're always talking about the boxing IQ of Crawford, but Canelo has a very high IQ as well. These guys are very good. And listen, size of the ring is the size of the ring, but if you're a smart boxer, you can make a small ring seem a lot bigger. And I don't think it's going to matter as much for these guys. I don't see Crawford spending time on the ropes. It's a very dangerous place to be in this situation. I'm really curious to see what happens when these guys get body to body. I want to see how Crawford is able to deal with Canelo on the inside. Because even if they're close to 50-50, maybe it's 60-40 Canelo, I'm like, oh, we got to fight. Yeah. If he is just way too big and strong, it's going to be a really tough night for Crawford.
I think Canelo's ability to cut off the ring, I've seen it when it's on.
It's crazy
very good.
Crazy good, yeah.
But then, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe against a southpaw, it's not as good. I don't know. We haven't seen him against enough southpaws, but Lara was moving a lot without being cut off.
I watched that the other day.
And also,
Skull, he just looked
Skull. He looked like he looked unenthused.
Yeah,
but you do have to question.
And he's a good fighter. People don't give Skull enough credit.
Hell yeah,
especially when he's not fighting.
I got a few Cubans that train with him on the national team. He could fight.
Yeah,
when he shows up to fight. But he showed up. He didn't show up to fight that night.
No, you know what though? I'll tell you this. That's what I'm talking about. Even with like Charlo, he comes out there when he got hit with that shot. When he got hit with that shot. And that's what I want to see with Terence Crawford.
Yeah,
your IQ is fantastic. That's great. But when you get hit with a big ass shot and that bow and that is your head is buzzing, we're gonna see where that IQ is gonna be. Well, and I also think too, if he can't hit Canelo, like we're saying, will Canelo sell out? Like Garcia was talking about, he didn't sell out against this guy. Yeah, you're right. But those are big guys.
Yeah.
So it's harder to sell out if they're keeping you somewhat honest. If he can't keep him honest, it's a hell of a lot easier to sell out.
Yeah.
So if Crawford can't keep him honest and he starts getting downhill on him, he's in big ass trouble.
I had said that when I was analyzing this fight as well. I mean, if Canelo gets hit early and he goes, "Oh, this guy has nothing for me,"
he's done.
Yeah.
It's good night.
He's going to.
There's two responses to that. Number one, I still don't know if Canelo can cut off the ring against a southpaw, and this guy switches, so it's going to make it harder to cut off the ring against him, regardless.
But then he'll go into survival mode. Then
who?
I'm saying if he hits him with something,
I don't see Crawford doing.
But I'm saying if he hits him with something,
Bob, is this wishful thinking, or we've never seen Crawford in this kind of character? It's not like
I'm telling.
There's go out on your shield or go out on your horse. But I'm saying I don't see him going out on the horse.
You got to remember. He hasn't gotten hit the way he's going to get hit that night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you start getting hit and you start getting banged on the body and your conditioning starts to go from devastating punching power.
All right, what about the fact
condition makes cowards of us all.
Okay, but that's
the famous coach once said. You start getting banged in that liver, banged in the kidneys.
We're going down the
I'm saying if he can't.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
If he keeps him honest, then it's going to be.
That's what I'm saying. We're going by the if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle routine again.
100%.
Well, let's go with the routine that we've seen. Crawford is going to jab. He's gonna switch. He's gonna offset.
I think he's gonna start the fight southpaw.
And he's gonna. So we haven't seen Canelo adept at cutting off the ring on southpaws. A switcher is tougher to cut the ring off against because they're switching stance. The lead hand changes and
Canelo's issue with southpaws is he doesn't land the jab. Canelo's a very good jab, very very good jab. It's fast and he gets there, but southpaws he can't.
See, I disagree there, but I'll tell you where Canelo's good.
You tell me Canelo's jab's not good.
No.
Come on.
He doesn't step in with it. He puts it out there. I don't think.
But he sets things up beautifully.
Cotto was jabbing the shit out of him. And that was
Cotto jabbed shit out of everybody.
But that's similar heavy-footed guys, and Cotto was out jabbing him by a mile. Here's the thing.
Cotto jabbed with Floyd.
Here's the thing.
Cotto jabbed with everybody.
And that's another point I'm going to make about the ring with Cotto, too. But let me go back to this. Where Canelo's good, what I really like, and I always thought it was good on TV. When I saw it live, when I started working his fights live, you know where he's freaking good, and he scored some knockdowns with this shot? It's that turning the hook off the jab. That thing where it is the best. I've never seen anybody do it so deceptively. That is not just his best weapon. It's one of the best weapons in boxing I've seen. He throws the jab.
The shot he hit with Berlanga. Yeah,
and Josito Lopez, the first fight I ever worked on Showtime, I remember it was the same thing. It was like, it looks like it's going to be a jab. And I can remember when I worked Josito Lopez, I was under the ring. I was right there. I was commentating. And I remember thinking, wow, I wouldn't have ever seen that switch from a jab to a southpaw. It takes off because it's like a pitcher, a batter with a baseball pitcher, right? It's like you need to see the release in order to kind of see what pitch you're going to see, and the release kind of gives you the adaptation it gives the batter the adaptation. For the American fans out, to use a baseball analogy, you'll understand what I'm saying. With Canelo, it's the same thing. You don't quite see the release because the release is just like a jab, but then all of a sudden somehow, which I still can't figure out how, it turns into a hook, and it turns into a damn good hook, and it hits you right on the chin. He's deceptive with that. I don't think he has a great jab, but he uses jab enough to where that deceptive hook now can be sold as a jab, and then he goes into a hook.
I'm not going to allow you to say he doesn't have a good jab, but I'm going to say this about Jimmy. From kickboxing, it's a question mark kick.
Yeah, question mark kick.
It's a question mark punch because it wraps around.
But nobody else does it that good.
No, I mean, guys do it, but he just does
He does it very, very
exceptionally
well.
well.
I've been ringside against a lot of guys. I'm sure you've been ringside against Canelo too, right?
But Paulie,
I see it that way ringside.
If he doesn't have a good jab, that doesn't land.
He's got to throw enough.
Got to sell the jab.
That doesn't
He only throws enough jabs so he can sell that hook.
That's
I'm
fine.
telling you, he doesn't.
He uses the jab to set up. It's a really good jab.
Yeah, but
it's a different kind of jab.
He's using the jab just.
All right, gentlemen. See, I got the squirt gun for Paulie after our last show. But the reason I'm getting ready to squirt Paulie is a question that one of our viewers sent in. I think is very, very important. Corners. Who has the better corner? Who's going to have that experience? Because you got Bomac and Eddie Reynoso. Coach, I got to start with you. According to so many great fighters, who do you think has the IQ edge when it comes to basically corner management in this one? They both have great trainers.
Well, that's tough. They're both good friends of mine.
On the spot you are, my friend.
Wow, he's thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because
they're both great.
They're both great coaches. I've been around both of them, but I would say Canelo and his charge, Reynoso, have been on the bigger stage more times than Crawford has in the big events. So I'm going to go with that duo over. But I know they've been together. He knows his fighter just as well as the other guy knows his fighter, but they haven't been as big events as Canelo and Reynoso have been.
The analogy might be how many Super Bowls you've been to. Been to a lot of playoffs.
Right.
How many Super Bowls you've been to? Canelo's been to the Super Bowl a lot. Well, got another great fighter joining us. Going to weigh in on this. Nonito Donaire, thank you so much for joining us, man. Got the belts behind you. Love that. What's your take on this, man? Who has the better corner? Who has the better team around them for this fight? Both guys very, very close with their trainers.
Well, I think like Coach said, they've been through this numerous times. They've created numerous. They've experienced so many big fights. So with Canelo's corner, they're more in tune, I believe, in terms of just being organized, being there numerous times, being there, seen it, done it, and stuff like that. But you get the other side in Crawford. They're just kind of chill and all that stuff, but they got the skills. They have the confidence and stuff. But I don't see per se the organization that it would entail in terms of comparison to Canelo's corner, who's been there and who's done that numerous times.
Can't buy experience.
Yeah. Is that the issue for you when once again, we talk about the cornering? It also depends, Chris, a little bit on what kind of fight this is. When are they going to need that advice and who's really listening and who's making the right adjustments? When it comes to that, who do you think has the advantage?
Well, I love when we have so many esteemed people to listen to because I'm learning as we're going. I'm figuring things out because if you had asked me that question, I would have been like, I can't pick a corner. I think they're even on that point because I don't think they're even on anything. But the corner, I was like, they're even. But then listen to Bob, and then listen to Nonito, just put that cherry on top. I look at it like a well-oiled machine versus guerrilla warfare. And Team Crawford with the mastermind of Bomac, it's guerrilla warfare. They're making it happen on the fly. They're setting traps. They're not going to fight you head on. They're smarter than that. They're going to be trickier than that. But they're dealing with a well-oiled machine that is Canelo and his forces. That's a really, I don't know. It's a cool thing to think about. They're very different. I would go to the structure first, like you guys just said, like Nonito, you agreed. Bob, I'm starting to agree with you guys, although I was probably leaning more towards Bomac and their strategy prior. But listen, guerrilla warfare can be really effective. You know, if you're not ready for something and you get hit with something you don't. I mean, deception is what warfare is all about. And this is war, guys. This is boxing, but it's war.
Nonito, one of the questions I want to ask, you and the panel in a sense is this idea of when we see frustration on somebody's face, it's going to be big in this fight. And I'm one of those guys when I'm commentating a fight, and we do it all the time. I don't care if we're in commercial or not. We always look at a fighter as they're walking to their corner because that'll tell you a lot. This idea of whoever gets frustrated first is in big trouble. Is that part of it to you? I know both these guys are used to big fights. They're very, very smart, but whoever gets frustrated is in big trouble in this fight.
It's very difficult to say otherwise because these you got Crawford who's very determined. That guy he'll figure out a way. That's the mindset that he has. So it's very difficult for him to be in that level. But then Canelo is also in that level where they're very experienced. But yes, definitely when that person is frustrated, I mean, it takes away the whole game plan, right? It takes away the mindset. Now you're just teeing off or you're just doing this and you're not doing anything properly in terms of what you tried to do, which is maybe set up a jab, maybe a feint here. You're not thinking anymore, right? You're just going out there and you're just throwing something because you're frustrated. And that can be a big detriment to a fighter, especially in this stage, because it's the person's mindset that breaks who will lose the fight.
Now, Nonito, you're a lighter fighter yourself. You just need a skill set that's really broad. You've seen so many guys who move so much, who do so many different things. How difficult will it be for Crawford to give Canelo, the heavier guy, maybe some looks he hasn't seen in a long time? Is that a big part of his strategy to you?
I believe so. I think that lateral movements, feints here and there, it's not too hard to understand Canelo's movement, because we've seen Canelo the way he does numerous times. He's done the same thing over and over, and there is a pattern to his walk. There is a pattern to his movement. There is a pattern to his head movements, and there's a pattern to his punches. All of that can be calculated in ways that, if you're the smarter guy, you can feint here a little bit and walk over here a little bit, So it's a matter of getting that right timing for Crawford to be able to get away and be in a safe spot while when he's ready to attack, he's right there, but then move out and just use that lateral movement to take away the offensive or the offense of Canelo.
Nonito, to you, in your mind, who's the smarter fighter? Who's got the higher boxing IQ?
I think Canelo has done the same thing in terms of the body shots, the setup here, the counter to the right, the lean to the left to counter to the body or to the head. He's smart in that way, and we haven't really seen much more improvement in terms of IQ of what he's done. He's done the same thing over and over. And same thing with Crawford. The only difference is Crawford has so much dynamic, so much variety.
Two stances.
But he's done the same thing over and over in terms of counter. He'll lean and he'll throw here, he'll feint, he'll do this, he'll do that. So a lot of times, they're both high IQ boxing and punch selections. I mean, they're both at the high level, and I would give it a little bit more to Crawford because of his versatility.
Agreed.
Two stances as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically fighting two guys because he fights different from both stances.
What I'm curious about, Nonito, I got to ask you, man. Lester Martinez, a fighter we've dealt a lot with here at Pro Box TV, fighting Christian Mbilli. This is a chance for a guy in Lester Martinez, a big puncher. Christian Mbilli, a very aggressive fighter. These are two guys who might steal the show in a sense. What's your thought about the excitement level of that fight and what it could bring, man?
I mean, when people see it, because a lot of times in this big environment, the way we see boxing now, it's not really how we used to see boxing in terms of like we want to see the whole fight. We want to see everybody fight. Right now, all there is that's talking is unless you're a big boxing fan and you're watching the whole fight. But a lot of times, the only thing that people are here for is Crawford and Canelo, And so when they do show up, it will surprise people tremendously because it'll be a fight that's fireworks.
Yeah, under the radar, but the possibility there to be really explosive. Paulie, this idea of you get your opportunity on a big stage, you got to make the most of it. This could be one of those opportunities for either one of those guys.
Yeah, it is, man. It's an opportunity. I think anytime you get on this stage, that's what you want to do. I can remember Gervonta Davis sort of making his bones on the Mayweather undercards. You know, they sort of gave him that platform to build his star, and you know, opportunities like this, they don't come very often for some fighters, and so you got to make sure you take advantage of it. For Lester and Mbilli, it's a huge opportunity. For Callum and Fernando Jr., it's a huge opportunity. You know, big stage and big lights, and it's what you dream of, and it takes you to that next level if you do perform.
So, Nonito, a question I have for you about the start of this fight, where a lot of people saying, and Bomac saying, you know, Crawford takes those first couple rounds, he reads you, much like Mayweather did, finds weaknesses that he can exploit later. Does he want to lose maybe the first 3 rounds? Does he want a slow start? A lot of people speculating that Canelo might start a lot faster than he has in previous fights. What's your thought on the first, 3 rounds, the start of this fight? Who do you think is going to own that real estate?
Well, whoever owns that is gonna have the momentum. You know, this is the thing with this fight is I believe Canelo needs to go out there, just press it. You don't need to think, just go out there and kill it to the body, hit him. You know, don't go for the head because I mean he's gonna make you miss any time. You know, like I used to remember when I'm sparring a lot of the guys. You know, I'll put my face in front just because I know it's easier for them to target. You know, and then I'll make them miss all day. But then when they started tapping me on my shoulder, my chest. It was very hard to get away from it because the body doesn't move. So I believe that if Canelo goes in there and just go, don't even think to counter, just go in there and just make it rough, then that'll be a very difficult fight for Crawford. And of course Crawford needs to start fast. He needs to start the feint. He needs to have the game plan of keeping his distance, but using that feint, throwing combination in there, move around, and then throw another combination, one here, one there, two here, you know, just a little bit of those movements to kind of slow down Canelo. And a lot of it is utilizing that feint and that jab and to set him up with bigger shots that he's going to think otherwise to step in without setting himself up to get there, you know, without the head movement, without all of that stuff. You know, that setup is going to really slow him down with the feint and the punches behind the back to make him think otherwise.
Yeah, Bob, that's such an interesting point that Nonito brings up, where a guy like Canelo, he doesn't hit you clean. He can touch you on the arms, on the gloves, on the body. We talk about it all the time where a guy takes a punch and you go, oh, man, I blocked that and it hurt. Is that an important message to send early? Even if you block it, if I graze you, everywhere I touch you is going to hurt. It makes you think more than you should.
To Nonito's point, I believe, too, that if he sells out, if he really sells out, I think he can stop Crawford, if not really beat the living shit out of him. If he really
a lot of ifs, Bob. A lot of ifs.
No, if he really now,
a lot of ifs.
You know what?
We haven't seen. You're saying a lot of things that we don't see Canelo doing.
It's Mexican Independence Day.
You always fight.
There's gonna be 70,000 Mexicans.
You always
but this
you always fight some Mexican.
I mean, he fought Berlanga on Mexican Independence Day too.
It's gonna be a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit different though, because like I said, I just don't feel that Crawford's gonna have enough to keep him honest. And if he doesn't, it's a lot easier to sell out when you're getting hit with a BB gun. When you're getting hit with a rifle,
that's true.
When you get hit with a BB gun, it's a lot easier to sell out. So I like I said, I'm sticking with Canelo. I think, would I be shocked if Crawford won? No, because he is a tremendous fighter. But I think Mexican Independence Day, you better have a little more in the BB gun with them 10 ounces. And if he doesn't, I think he's in deep trouble.
A lot of people don't know this about it was Sonny Liston versus Muhammad Ali. The difference in that fight, and his corner said later, he said, we didn't think Ali could punch. And he walked back after that second round and went, this guy can punch. We thought he was cutie, that he could move a lot. Sonny Liston didn't believe Ali could punch. And when he got hit and he turned to his corner and goes, dude, this kid could hit. We didn't realize that he had a punch. To that point, Nonito, how important is it for Crawford to get the respect? Once again, maybe the first couple rounds, even a disruptive punch where the timing comes in and his accuracy is good and he's able to, kind of stop Canelo in his tracks. Is that an important message to send early?
100%, because that's the kind of thing, punches that even if you don't have that power in that division, anything that you get hit that you don't see will hurt you. You know, even a jab will hurt you, even anything else. But that's the thing that he has to do, is establish that little. He has to be in a level that the feint, he has to be like an assassin going in there, like a ninja going in there. You know, you gotta
be a sniper.
Yeah, you got like a sniper, but you got to put a little bit of before the attack, the decoy, the feints, because that way, when you do get hit with something that you don't expect, it's gonna hurt. I don't care how light the punches is.
The shock of
If
it.
you
Yeah.
don't feel like, oh, it's coming, and you get hit with something, hey, guess what? I'm like, okay, I gotta think otherwise. This guy's kind of getting me, So I mean, I know it's a bigger gloves for Crawford, but again, I always believe in this, is that the punches that you don't see is the punches gonna hurt you every single time.
Nonito, thank you so much for your time, man. Enjoy the fight this weekend. Appreciate you, brother.
Great points, champ. Thank you.
Take it easy, champ.
Bay Area, baby. Bay Area, baby. Don't forget.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you,
I
brother.
got love for Northern California. I know I'm from Southern California, but a great
Well,
place.
you got to remember, Donaire. Remember this.
You know it. Love Northern Cali, man. Appreciate you. Hella good place.
Hey,
hella good
on
place.
the same amateurs.
California joke.
Donaire,
Yeah.
Guerrero,
Yeah.
Andre Ward.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good little crop going.
Wasn't
down there
bad back then. I
it wasn't
remember
too bad
it well.
for us.
All right, so we have our YouTube poll results. You can see it on the screen. Who wins up? Canelo, 51% to 49%.
That's
Chris,
close.
you're not nervous about your pick. It looks like the weigh-in might be starting right now, by the way.
Not at all. I'm good.
Chris, behind those shades, not nervous at all, dude. Not nervous at all. Not nervous at all. All right, so it looks like the weigh-in getting ready to roll.
That's
obviously
too bad, man.
Yeah, dude.
Woo!
Whoa, voting is so close. That's great.
Two of the greats both claim to be the greatest. There's only one way to find out. What's that day? On September 13th, the moment arrives. Canelo versus Crawford. A true super fight that only comes along once in a lifetime. Hello, fight fans! Las Vegas lives for high stakes in this.
Look at the comment here. At Trice, Canelo needs to fight Benavidez after this. Paul, you believe that 100%?
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah. Don't hold your breath. You might turn blue.
I'm telling you, man, I love Canelo fight weekends. They're so much fun in Vegas.
There he is.
What are you talking about, that guy, right?
There we go. Robert Diaz. Yeah. Just on our air a couple minutes ago, if you missed him.
Bad man right there.
Dude, looking good.
He's looking good, boy. I think I'm changing my pick.
Don't get scary. Don't get scary.
I'll tell you this, though. I ain't putting my money on it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Oh, I mean, the line's better.
Either way, I ain't putting my money on it.
As they're at the desk going over the
That's an interesting desk.
specifics. Yeah, Antonio Tarver, worked with him many times.
Mark Kriegel,
Kriegel came over from
Coppinger.
ESPN.
friend of mine I've worked with many, many times.
Coppinger from Ring.
Mario Lopez.
And it just isn't big without Mario Lopez. I mean, we got to have Mario Lopez there.
Can never not, I mean, you can't miss with him.
Mario's a good host.
Oh, man,
But
Tony.
every time he spars, he always wears a mask over there at Freddy's. He goes, "Hey, you guys can hit me in the body, but don't hit me on the face.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
my face to make money."
Yeah, I bet.
That face has made of money for 40 years. You got to keep that thing
He
together.
used to tell us all the
You guys
time at
hear?
Freddy's gym.
No, I can't hear him.
No, I don't
No,
hear
we
either.
don't hear it either.
That's all right.
Mark is always just a poignant guy, man. He's just
Yeah.
Guys, we don't hear the broadcast, guys.
Yeah, we can't hear the broadcast. No problem. But
there we go.
Here we go.
What I want to know, we want to
Yo, Canelo's face looks like Stonehenge.
Yeah,
It's like just
dude.
I don't know, man. But when Crawford gives you
Solid.
that forehead, he puts it down and give you that eye-to-eye look.
Interesting question we have. Will age play a factor? I mean, they're both in similar ages. We talk about
they're
Chris.
both old. Let's put it that
both
way,
the same
guys.
spot.
They're both
Question
old.
because
Yeah.
layoffs and age. You know, with Crawford, it's a good question. Is layoff and age.
And Canelo's got 60 some odd fights.
Right.
Yeah.
but
He's an old
A lot of
old
fights.
35.
Hey, but you count the ones early in his career. Come on, dude. Those don't count. Come on.
Yeah.
He was
Well,
16 years old. I mean, it
Yeah.
counts. 15, I think.
The draw against the guy 4 and 5, that counts too.
Yeah,
They took off his record. All right.
counts.
I'm just saying.
counts
Remember,
for
he used to have that
experience.
draw, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. Remember that?
Yeah.
Who's Muhammad Ali Cal? 10 rounder, 33.
Yeah, I think he's one of Turkey's guys.
What is the 133-pound division? What is that?
No, catch weight, I guess.
It's not quite lightweight, Chris. Not quite lightweight.
Look at that head movement. Look at that head movement.
Ooh, a body shot. Man, that Saunders fight was something else.
Yeah.
Ah!
Aye. That was one of the best versions of
Yeah, Canelo against Plant
Yeah.
was a solid performance.
Yes.
As he kind of started out.
No, that was that year where he
Trying to
did
think.
the
Callum.
Gilderum, Saunders,
Callum.
Plant, and Callum Smith.
And Callum Smith, that's a hell of a win.
That was
That's a hell of a win.
I actually thought
Might be his
Callum.
best one.
That's
I
a hell of,
I
hell of
thought
a
Smith
win.
was going to beat him,
It's
and he didn't show up at all. He got completely washed out.
That's a solid one.
He
yeah.
got that punching power.
That year was crazy. It was like 15 months of
you.
just.
He can hit.
I watched that. I watched him in Big Bear. I'm telling you, he can crack.
He's still knocking guys out. He
Yep.
just beat Buatsi. Buatsi's a very good
Callum,
fighter.
yeah.
Yeah.
And even with the Mayweather fight,
Yeah.
catch weight with a rehydration clause.
Yeah.
Don't forget about that.
Yeah.
Canelo was a little bit of a cancer patient going in there.
He was not at his best physically.
Was that a catch weight with Matthew Hatton too? Nobody complained about that fight.
Yeah.
You get the
Take the good and the bad, I guess, right?
Good to see Jim.
Whoa,
Right.
guys! Best shape of his life. I've never heard that before. What? Best camp ever?
Whew.
I called that fight.
Whew. See, now I see that. I'm switching my pick.
These highlight reels are so good,
Let the
right?
highlights get you, Bob. Come on.
This is how Crawford's going to win it.
Punch selection. Donnie on TV.
You
I
see
think.
Donnie on TV. I think Crawford goes out on his shield.
I think Crawford would go for it. I mentioned that comment I said earlier.
Yep.
You either go out on your shield or you run on your horse or you ride on your horse. I don't see Crawford riding a horse. If it comes down to it, I think he goes out on his shield.
Yeah.
That being said, I still think he wins.
Well, you got to be on your shield to win, right? He's got to.
You gotta go
step
for it.
up for it. Yeah.
I'd be really surprised if we got a Charlo performance from Crawford.
So,
I would be shocked.
Heidi just said Canelo's only faced 2 southpaws the past decade. So Lara and Saunders are the only 2 southpaws he's faced. So,
He absolutely destroyed Saunders, though.
yeah. But
He was so young when he fought Lara. Like, I was watching that the other day. He looks like a baby. He had no answers for anything.
does the early atmosphere affect this fight? Because I think Saunders looked very stiff in that fight, and I think that's why he ended up reaching for that left hand. They got him countered. And can that have an emotional effect?
On the other side of it, see the comment there. If Canelo can't figure out Bud, we know he doesn't go for broke. That's a big question. Is if he's behind, will Canelo go for it? That's a big question.
That's what Bob's been saying about going.
punching power.
I think they're throwing a shot at you, Bob.
I understand that, but like I said, it's easy to go for broke if you feel the guy's only firing BB guns.
Yeah.
So you're telling me Mayweather punched too hard that Canelo couldn't go for broke?
Well, in the Mayweather fight, like I said, with Canelo, I think
23 years old.
not only that, it was
So you don't have any balls at 23? They didn't drop yet?
and he could
Is that what happened?
hydrate like 6 pounds. No. So I mean, it for a guy that rehydrates, because I know with the Lara fight,
But he's 23.
when the Lara,
Yeah,
in
he
the Lara-
recovers
but he was
23.
still a big guy. Even in the Lara fight,
Yeah.
he rehydrate pretty big. He's
Yeah.
a big guy.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
It's not that long after he beat Jose Cota at 147, though. So I mean, how he's still at
I sparred him for the Jose.
still at
Cotto
152. You know,
And yeah,
he was at 147 not that long before that. It's an extra 5 pounds.
But he was 19 years old, 20 years old. He was growing.
We have a question coming in. You see it here. Who at 168 pounds, Paulie, is more deserving of a fight than Crawford? At 168 now.
At 168.
Who's been evaded-
The guys that were more deserving, Canelo forced them to move up because he wouldn't give them a title shot, or nobody enforced the title shot, specifically the mandatory that was David Benavidez. Also, I thought David Morrell would have been a solid opponent for Canelo. Neither guy was going to get a shot at Canelo, so they had to move up. So, at 168 right now, more deserving than Crawford. I don't think there's a bigger fight you can make at 168 for Canelo than
Certainly not bigger. No.
Yeah, so at this point, yeah, but you also got to take the question into context. Anybody that was a real fight, he forced them to move up. Now there are guys waiting in the wings that are going to be pretty good, and I don't know if Canelo's going to fight them in case he wins this
Lester
fight.
Martinez.
Lester Martinez.
Well,
There's-
the winner of Lester and
The winner of
Christian.
that fight,
there is a Diego Pacheco as well. There are some guys brewing at 168 that you like.
Hamza Shiraz is a new
Hamza Shiraz is
entry.
a very good fighter as well. So, but I think it's a good question because I think with what's left at 168, though there are good fighters, I think this guy is the big fight.
I mean,
make, sure.
let's call it like it is. This is the biggest fight that we made in the sport right now.
Yeah.
And not that it's the best fight, but it's the biggest
Yeah.
fight.
And that, exactly, they don't always go
Do you
hand in
think it
hand.
would have been bigger than Benavidez?
Yes. This is a big
Yeah,
Really?
because there's a lot of crossover.
This is a
appeal.
bigger fight,
I don't
yeah.
think it was a better fight than Benavidez. You know what? I'd say I'm lying because I've always said Benavidez would run him over. So I don't think it would be close. So this
I
fight
don't
is
think
more
anyone
competitive.
runs
But
Canelo.
do you think it would have been a bigger
Because he doesn't
fight
fucking
than
freaking
Benavidez?
fight anybody. How are you going to see
Wanted
it?
the Mexican
Yeah.
monster?
Yeah, I think for crossover,
Bebo beat him 10-2, dude. He basically ran
just
him over
Max
if he didn't
Kellerman.
go to survival mode. Just because the scorecard says 7-5 doesn't mean he didn't beat him like he stole
Yeah,
something.
but Bivol didn't allow him.
You know what I mean? Like, come on.
But Bivol didn't allow himself to get hit. Benavidez will be there to get hit. He gets hit by guys.
As Max Kellerman comes
Benavidez
out,
assaults you.
we have a question here. Does the TV walkout get your energy and pumped up, or is it draining? It depends on how long we waited for something in a broadcasting way, but it usually does get us. It does get us pumped up.
I get excited, you know?
Yeah, I do.
You know, you get less chance to go to get some snacks if it's long enough, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's good. I don't mind the weigh-in. I mean, the walkouts.
Wait, this is meaning for as a fighter walking to the ring?
No,
For us, as fans or as
do they drain
broadcasters.
you? Do they? Oh, maybe he's talking about as a fighter. Champ,
I
that's
thought
a
it was
good
a
point.
fighter. Yeah.
You know what? Take that
Oh,
question.
as
Go
a
ahead.
fighter, pump me up like crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
crazy. I
yeah.
love my walk.
I gotta say,
I love the walk.
that perspective on that question is different. Yeah, because
I thought of it as a fan or a broadcaster.
there's a piece of you that can get lost on the ring the way the walkout.
Yes.
To the ring. And I'm serious, bro. You gotta hold your focus because it can feel like a party.
If the walkout drains you, you're probably not doing the right job.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the walkout can be so celebratory sometimes. It can drain you. I can remember fighting.
Not drain you, but it gets you out of context.
Yeah, because I can rember fighting at Etihad Stadium in Manchester.
But Paulie, that's why you gotta have a great coach
No,
like
bro.
me, and I'll go like that, and smack you in
Yeah,
the face.
no, bro,
Get back to go.
I'm
Hey,
serious.
come on, let's go.
I'm serious,
baby.
bro. My defensive against Love Moreno, my rematch, which I ended up being a disaster with my hair and my broken hand. But bro, the walk to the ring was like 50 yards. It was in a soccer stadium. It was such a celebration. Like I had a mask on, I was dancing. But by the time I got in the ring, I'm like, bro, I gotta fight. What am I doing over here? You know what I mean? Like the guy's waiting across the ring. That's a good question, bro. Because after that, it was actually kind of something I kind of learned. Like, bro, hold your focus the whole time. You can enjoy
Super
the walkout.
Matias.
Yeah, you can enjoy the walkout, but don't let it lose your focus because it can lose your. If you enjoy it too much, you can lose your focus.
I fought at home a lot, and I remember my biggest fight was the ESPN main event of fighting Manuel Taylor when I fought at the Paramount Theater in my hometown, and we had a long wait behind the curtain, waiting, and I started getting in my head, and I was like, "This is the toughest, hardest fight I've ever been, and this is the biggest puncher I've ever fought," and I started getting in my head like, this is gonna be a rough night. It's gonna be a rough night. I might come out of this fight like a different person, kind of like I'm gonna get.
That's not a good place.
I'm gonna
to
get
be,
fucked
Chris.
up.
Yeah.
But listen, you mentioned a good coach. My great coach at the time, Tim Lane. He saw it. He read my mind. He saw the gears going, and he goes. He hits me in the hand. He goes in the glove, and he goes, "Baby, it's a boxing match. It's not a fight. You ain't got to fight if you don't want to fight. Go out there and box." And that was all I needed to know.
Yeah.
I went out there. I won 9
Sometimes
out of 10 rounds. I
simplifying
barely got hit.
things makes it so.
But his ability to
Having a good
read,
coach,
a
having
good
a good
coach, being
coach
able to
makes
read
a
my
difference.
mind as
read the moment too.
Yes.
Gotta have a good jockey.
That's
this is
Boachuk.
Triple H in the back.
This is who beat Nico Ali Wash. Akali.
If Bomac
Nico
loses,
Ali
he gets
lost.
a second bite at Canelo with Lester. That we'd love to see that. If Lester Martinez is
There's
victorious.
a lot of ifs there.
Lot of
You got a
ifs.
better
Lot of
shot
ifs
of hitting the
there.
Lot of
lotto than
ifs.
Canelo fighting Lester. You
Lot of ifs there.
Especially if Lester looks good against Mbilli. I love how everybody just makes like Canelo's gonna fight everybody. Buddy, when the last like he hasn't avoided the top opposition for a couple of years already.
Well, it just depends how good he looks or bad.
Yeah, I think it's a coming out party for Lester, but we'll see. Rico Santana. This guy's got like a wrestling name. Remember Tito Santana?
Tito
I
Santana.
feel like Rico Santana is a good
Rico
WWF name.
Could be
What
his
do they
kid.
call it now?
His
WWE?
kayfabe kid
Yeah.
goes in to defend him. Yeah, that'd be great.
Rico Santana. That's a great fighting name, bro.
That is.
Right.
Rico Santana.
Rico.
Even
Oh,
better.
Even better.
That's a cool
Even
name.
better.
Rico Santana. Bro, WWF, old WWF, Strike Force is my favorite tag team. I always get a lot of shit for that. I don't know why. They lost to Demolition.
20?
That was a British Bulldog.
It's a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Get jumped by.
All my
I'm a
friends
little
make
older.
fun of me saying, "Oh, Demolition beat them." I don't know. I like Demolition, but I mean, now looking back, they were more fun. Back then, I hated that they cheated to beat Strike Force for the title. You know.
Yeah.
And Santana was one of the guys.
Yep.
It was Santana and Rick Martel.
I remember that.
You know, Strike Force was the Rockers before the Rockers.
Yeah.
If you think about
Yeah.
it, like they don't get that credit.
Strike Force is awesome.
Yeah, bro. They had that high flying acrobatic team before the Rockers did. And then you know what? Both tag teams ended in the same way, with one of them betraying the other one,
Yep.
turning heel.
Always.
They made the same storyline for Strike Force and
Rick
Brock.
Martel turned heel, didn't he?
Rick
Where
Martel
are those
betrayed
guys?
Tito,
On the stream or something?
and then Sean
Gotta be on the
betrays
stream.
Marty Jannetty
What's
for the
that?
Rockers.
This-
I
this is
vaguely
prior.
remember
This
that.
is Pre-show.
Yeah, 21. And
You talk about big
one
necks
guy.
for the yesterday for Canelo. Look at this guy's neck.
Yeah.
He's like the junkyard dog. Speaking of old wrestlers, with that chain and everything.
Big shoulders, man.
Steve Nelson is a stablemate of Crawford, one of the Bomac elites.
Another one.
If Canelo Crawford was on pay-per-view, would it have outsold Tank versus Ryan? I think so.
I was about to say absolutely not. Then I was like,
I think
probably
so.
would. Yeah.
I think so.
Canelo sells, man, and this one's getting sold a bit.
Mexican Independence Day, baby.
Dude, Mexican
Puro
fans-
Mexico, Puro
Ryan doesn't
Mexico.
sell to Mexicans like Canelo
Ryan
does.
does sell to the YouTubers though.
But he doesn't sell to Mexicans.
Yeah.
And the Mexican fan base is
Very
dogged.
strong.
Dogged.
I mean, the Mexican fan base will criticize us if we don't have Canelo dominating the fight. Even if we have him winning and not dominating, we still get it from the Mexican fan base.
I did my head-to-head, and I gave any checks went to Crawford, and the Mexicans attacked me.
It has to be total domination.
What do you
of Canelo.
mean? What do you mean? What do you mean he's faster than Canelo? He's not faster than Canelo. Okay.
Polly, wait till you hear from my wife. You go against the Mexicans, it's on. The chocola's coming on.
The good thing is the fight's tomorrow.
Yep. The passionate fans, Bob. Passionate fans.
The best fan base.
Oh, but I get a lot of slack saying like I always pick against Canelo. Canelo fights no hopers. I haven't picked against Canelo since Bivol, and I actually thought Bivol would get robbed. Actually, my prediction was Canelo by robbery against Bivol, and they gave Bivol the decision. So I haven't actually picked against Canelo in a while because his opponents are just no hopers most of the time.
Is Sergey still a threat at 154 pounds? Chris, your thought?
Sergey
who?
Yep. I don't know which Sergey.
Bohacek?
Bohacek,
yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
Bohacek,
I think.
absolutely.
What do you mean still? Yeah,
Absolutely.
like a month.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he gave
Totally.
he gave Ortiz all he could handle, and I think Ortiz is the guy to beat at 154.
Yeah.
So
Do you think
A lot of people
do you
thought
think
Ortiz got a gift
won
in that fight.
It was close. I mean,
it
could go either way.
So what you had Bohacek, right?
Yeah.
I had
Ortiz.
Bohacek winning.
Yeah.
Here's my
But it's a
thing.
great fight. I would have
It
loved to
was a
see it
great
again.
fight.
It's a shame that it made
Two
it again.
knockdowns.
Yeah.
Those are 10-8 rounds.
Yeah, I know.
And then all the other rounds were close.
But you know what?
Every damn
you
round
know-
was close, and then you got the
but you know,
10-8 rounds.
But Bob, in an era where nobody fights one another, the fact that those two fought each other in a stack weight class, and those two might be two or
No,
the top
correct.
two
Kudos
or the
to
top
them, for
three
sure.
154 pounders in the
For
world
sure.
fought each other right there in a fight that wasn't overly promoted the way it should have been. I mean, that was a monster
Great fight.
fight. Like, and even when they stand in the weight class, absolutely, Sergey's still a monster. I just think he's going to have that former Soviet fighter syndrome where everybody's going to avoid him the way they avoided Golovkin, the way they avoided Beterbiev, and he'll not get the credit he deserves. But at least Virgil had the
He's
balls
at
to
least
fight him,
getting
and Virgil
Virgil's
fights
a
top
beast.
opposition.
Virgil's a beast.
Virgil, that's what I mean. And
love
he
it.
handles it. That's what bro, you got to give guys like this credit, man. Because everybody else is looking to go on parallel lanes with champions and not going into crossing lanes with other champions, bro. The guys like this got to get credit. Is this the guy who was on the other Turkey card? This guy's pretty good if it's the guy I'm thinking about. He was on one of the Turkey cards.
Yeah, he was on in New York.
Pretty good. Bro, this
New
kid's
York.
pretty good, bro. He's only 2-0.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, he's very good.
Yeah.
This kid's very good.
This could be like
Japanese
another
fighters
anyway,
bring
right?
it every single time. They're the most fun to watch.
Discipline.
No, but
discipline.
a lot of times Japanese fighters are fun because they're highly like offensive.
Yeah.
This kid's offensive, but he's like
Slick.
skilled. Yeah. If it's the guy I'm thinking about, Tsutsumi. I'll probably forget his name again next time. So if you remember that name, but dude, that guy can fight. Where's Dana? Dana. Hiding from Zattel. Good one.
Nah, there's Dana.
Dana right in the middle.
I think
That's the shaking
they
hands.
might have banned Zattel actually.
For sure. He's never getting invited back. But
Really?
Ditchko.
no,
This guy had this
Ditchko.
guy against Franklin Jr.
That's a good fight.
decent fight. Yeah.
Ditchko's a
Ditchko
Florida guy.
Pro Box once.
He's
Yeah.
a Florida guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Franklin, I think, right? I don't know.
Is he?
No, actually, no. He's like
I don't think so.
But Ditchko's rough.
I
bro.
feel like Franklin's a Atlanta guy. No, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Georgia, Florida. It's
I
close.
think he's an Atlanta guy.
I think he is Atlanta
The
guy.
deep
'Cause
south.
We're going to have him as an opponent for
But
one
you know,
of my heavyweight.
Ditchko kind of like was one of those guys they also avoided. Like he's like 35 and he's not gonna get an opportunity.
And he was a very good high-level amateur.
Bronze medalist, I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
He's again that Soviet syndrome where they just avoid you and sometimes your whole career passes you by.
Yeah.
There's been a few of those guys. People sometimes you don't hear. Yelusinov was an excellent gold medalist. Career passed him by. You know, there's some Soviets you never see. And they're damn good.
They're trying to do it to
Too
Jolov.
good for their own good.
Jalolov too, the
They're trying
heavyweight,
to do it with
6'9".
Jolov.
Yes,
Trying
gold
to do it with
medalist.
Jolov.
Jalolov too, the 6'9" heavyweight. Nobody knows who he is.
He's a problem.
Olympic
dude.
gold medalist,
He's a
monster.
problem. I say it all the time. He fights like Dmitry Bivol, but he can punch.
And he's 6'9".
Yeah. Well,
Oh shit!
Dude, the guy's a monster.
monster.
I think he won the gold medal with a stoppage, right, against Torres in the final.
He knocked out Torres, yeah.
In the final,
I don't think he did in the finals, though. I don't think.
No, that was final. I think Torres got a
Torres
yeah.
is a silver medal?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he knocked out Frazier Clark, the British guy, in the semis.
Wow.
He beat the crap out of him, too.
Yo, if you're knocking guys out in the Olympics,
you're a monster.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, that's another one, bro. Jalala.
Sometimes
you forget about him. No, Dishko's nasty too, but Dishko's 35-36 at this point. They might have passed him by.
Listen, as a heavyweight, you still got life.
You gotta
in
get your shot now.
But sometimes, like you said,
you know what? Now that we always talk about that matchup. Who's the guy that just beat Dillian White? Who's the guy that just beat Tuma? Right there. Let's put him against.
No, he's fighting Ergovich, which is even tougher.
He's fighting Ergovich. Yeah. But this guy's got to get a shot, Dishko.
Yeah.
They did make the Ergovich fight. Yo, maybe they listened to us because we were talking about the Ergovich fight.
Yeah, that's a tough fight.
Speaking of Sergey Bohachuk,
there he is.
The rematch.
Yep.
Adams is a problem, dude. He was
look at
his wig is a problem. But also he can fight.
He's a carry. He can fight. But Bohachuk was beating him easy the first time when he got stopped. No.
Yes.
Bohachuk also is the type who doesn't just beat you; he assaults you. So you gotta have.
Yeah, but he's tricky.
Yeah,
and he can punch.
He caught him with the crazy
left hook.
Yeah.
Knocked out with a left hook. He's tricky.
I like Adams because he's confident. Like he doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like
can he hit lightning in a bottle twice?
Twice. Yeah.
Didn't Brandon win some kind of reality show too or no? Was he the guy? Was he in some kind of reality show? Was he? I feel like there was a boxing show he was on or something.
He looks like a pro wrestler, like Mr. Perfect or something like
Ric Flair.
But he looks like
African American Ric Flair.
Rest in peace, Kurt Hennig. Love him.
But he looks like what's his name? Tyler Perry character. No?
Yeah.
He looks like a Tyler Perry character.
The mom, with the wig.
Or what it was.
Sergey Bohachuk.
Or even Larry Johnson back in the day. Remember Grandmama?
Yep.
Larry Johnson?
Yeah, Grandmama.
What are your thoughts on Max Kellerman's comments yesterday at the weigh-in, kind of trashing his own sport in front of the crowd? It didn't go over well.
A bit selloutish, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad Canelo stepped in. That was credit to Canelo, honestly.
Yeah.
That was big credit to Canelo. I know.
And I'm a big fan of Max Kellerman.
He was selling UFC?
He was basically saying, like, this guy's the greatest promoter I've seen in my lifetime.
And he said, this is why boxing isn't as popular. And
Canelo just stepped in and said enough. And you know what? My man Canelo.
Yeah.
I give you criticize you, but on a personal level, I criticize
a big
boxing.
statement.
I criticize boxing, but on a personal level, that was
big
respect.
Listen, I think Canelo's cool as shit.
By the way, the guy who asked the question, Spilatro, any relation to Tony the Ant?
No, I don't know. No idea.
You know Tony the Ant?
Yeah, I do. Tony the Ant Spilatro. Look it up. All right. Guy didn't die well, but this is what we're talking about. Is Max Kellerman, who I'm usually a fan of, I thought boxing fans at a boxing event wasn't the smart way to go at all. Yeah.
It's weird coming from him, especially.
Coming from him, yeah. Boxing made him, yeah.
Yeah, that was,
I think what he was trying to do,
trying too hard to sell. He probably getting paid really good. And how do I make it worth his?
Happy to
be
back.
Worth his while to have sold me.
I think what he was trying to do is saying, hey, with what we got in place now, we're gonna be like, pro football, and we're going to take it to this next level.
Yeah.
And
didn't articulaate it
he
well.
Just didn't. He didn't.
I think he forgot where he was.
Yeah, he just.
I think he felt like he was at a UFC event because of the way the organization was. There was not UFC people, media, fans there, so he got ready.
But Canelo stepping in. That's a bigger moment for him than any of his recent fights.
But I think that's what he was trying to roundabout.
Well,
Dana
got his dick kicked in too. By the way,
I mean, Dana is essentially a glorified booking agent for the show. I mean, what is he doing? I mean, the whole show is not created by him, really. I mean, none of these guys are created by Top Rank, Golden Boy, ESPN, HBO, Showtime has kind of built this whole profile of these guys to get it to this crescendo. And then Dana just gets hired as like basically a glorified booking agent. Hey, you know what, play your position here. But also, he has nothing to do with it. And then he's like, I'm involved with two of the biggest 3 promotions ever in boxing. You didn't do anything, though. You're just there. I'm actually surprised he let himself
he was a manager, promoter for McGregor for that fight. Yeah, and now he's a booking agent, like you said.
Yeah. Like, you're just... I don't know, bro.
Boy, that's one hell of a glorified booking agent.
That is. He's getting a lot of press.
He get a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's why nobody respected him yesterday at the press conference, and Weisetel asked him that question. Because, bro, you don't belong up there. So answer a real question for me, because I don't want to see you up there anyway. You didn't
There he is. There he is.
Lester
Martinez. We know him well.
The boogeyman.
Bob, you said you saw him in camp, right? Lester, a long time
Yeah,
ago.
with
something?
Adamas.
How did he look?
Adamas, yeah.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah,
monster.
he's a
We've had him.
You know,
we've had him
Adamas
for 5
sparred the Mexican monster,
Adamas
Benavidez, many times, and with this guy's a monster.
We've had him on our network a couple times.
You know better than
Bob,
Man,
anybody.
this guy can hit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
we've
only
seen him
reason
with the
this
small
fight isn't
gloves,
bigger is
devastating.
people don't know him.
Yeah.
That man is downhill,
He's got
and
that
downhill.
old. He's got that old school Kashazoo rat tail over there.
Costa Zoo Rat Tail. I
and
remember
don't
that
forget
well.
this.
You know who else used to have it? Didn't Stephen Fulton used to have it and he cut it?
Yeah.
Stephen Fulton. Yeah.
But
So
think
did
about this.
Lucas Matisse for a bit.
Lucas Matisse had it for a bit too. Yeah.
Made
So
his,
that's an Argentine thing. They
made his pro
thing I
debut
never had,
against
I guess.
I
Ricardo
had a rat tail when I
Mayorga.
was a kid.
Now, who does that?
Who does that?
Made
Yeah.
his pro debut against Ricardo Mayorga. Now,
Yeah,
you're not
right,
desperate
yeah,
to
right.
start him.
Yeah,
Crushed
yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah. Yeah, true. But you see some crazy pro debuts with some of these guys, bro.
Is that insane?
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
I couldn't believe it when I seen that.
Yeah. And he beat
Billy
him.
is one of the most jacked guys in
Jesus.
this sport.
But he's
Yeah.
short. He's like a
He
fire
is short.
hydrant, no?
He is short, actually.
We're gonna see if he could take that heat tomorrow night.
Yeah.
When he
That's
give it, but
what-
can
I
you
gotta be
take
honest,
it?
I like this fight.
Yeah.
No, it's a
That's
great
a great
fight.
fight.
It's a
It's a great fight.
50-50 fight.
This fight should be the co-main event. I don't know. That's another
I
thing.
gave him
That's another
Billy-
thing the glorified booking agent did. He switched around the order.
It's
of
a
fights, 'cause this fight.
50-50 fight.
I gave him
I love he's
Billy a
holding
lot
the
of
coach
flack
back.
in his last fight, but I'm a big fan.
Coach is like,
Bo
I'm not gonna do
Mack is
anything,
it.
man. Get off.
Oh, they're going. That's what I mean about. That's why the guys got to fight when they're young and hungry, because there's a savagery in your mind that's not there when you're paid 1,000 million. You know, like I love when fighters are
Sleeping in silk
excellent,
sheets.
excellent, and fight each other when they're world class and they're fighting each other young. You know what I mean? It's like there's a savagery you can't replace later. You can't bring back later. This fight will have that too, but they're just not on the same level. That's why I think the order
Oh, they're
of the
they're
fight
just
should
not
be
as,
switched.
as good or seasoned.
But they're young and hungry
Yeah.
too. There's going to be a savagery here too, I think. You know, and a determination. Because
But
again,
there might not be because neither one has been tested. You might see a guy fold and be like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
it's not
so
for
with
me.
Mbilli and Lester, you
This
kind of know
isn't-
what you're going to
This
get.
isn't the right business for me.
Yeah.
But
Like Camacho Jr.
But
when he
that's
got
why
cut
I'd
with
say
Leija.
I like
This
Leija,
ain't the
right,
right.
right.
This ain't the right business.
That's why I say I like this fight, but the order should have been switched up.
Yeah,
you know, like
that makes no sense.
If you think about
Well,
it,
this is
yeah,
TKO's guys, Callum
yeah,
Walsh.
yeah, it's like it's a politicized move.
Still
But
a
if
good
you
fight.
Think about
Still a
it.
good
fight. Still a
But
good
if you
fight.
think about it, that's where Dana White kind of stepping in, messes
No,
everything
but
up
to-
here.
to
Because you
your
put in this
point-
fight. Think about this, okay? Just for thought. All the other Riyadh season shows, we've had like 5 title fights, bro. Think about the undercard. You had Netflix putting you on a stage here. They're giving you a major profile. You've done fights in the past where you've had like 5 world title fights. All great fights. All could have been main events. And you put them all on the same card. Shouldn't you take advantage of this kind of profile
Well,
with Netflix
Martinez should
and
be
have
the
done
co-feature.
5 straight
But
5 title
Martinez
fights?
should be the co-feature for sure.
For these, yeah.
The difference is Netflix.
What do you mean Netflix? You can put it on Netflix. Use
You
Netflix
can't,
as your profile.
you don't have 5 hours. You can't do 12 rounds.
Okay, do 3.
Yeah.
Do 3.
So what I heard, take this with a grain of salt. I heard Netflix didn't want more than one 12-rounder. They wanted the main event to be special.
That's what
It
I've
might
heard
be
that as
special.
well. Yeah, that's the word going around.
Very
That it was, they
casual
only
right now.
wanted so many rounds. Yeah,
The fact that Mbilli and Martinez is not a 12-rounder
Well, then you know what I would do?
is a
I would
crime.
have went to 3 fights.
Yeah, now,
Put
you know what,
3
Netflix, don't do us any
fights
favors.
on
Do me a
there.
favor, all right?
And
It's a
save the
crime.
rounds on the front end.
yeah. But the main event
Uh-oh,
isn't
right to each
supposed to
other's
walk.
face. How'd they pan out, bro? Make it close.
Yeah.
How do you pan out when they're about to walk to each other?
Yeah, gentlemen. By the way, the main
at
event
this.
is
I like
supposed
it.
to walk at like 1:10 a.m.
Oh,
I like
Yeah,
it.
wow.
supposed to walk very low. We're gonna have a long night tomorrow night.
I like it. I like it. See, there's a savagery
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
That's what I'm
little-
saying. You don't get that when guys are making 100 million each. You don't
Yeah.
get that.
No.
You don't get that. That's what I'm saying. There's a savagery there that I love. That's the ferocity of young, young world class fighters with the dream in their eyes still, because they still have the dreams in front of them and not behind them. That's why Leonard and Hearns was such an amazing fight. At the point in time where they fought,
My favorite.
as a savagery to
and
both of them, plus their
15
champions, plus their world
rounds.
class. Yep. That's why those fights are where they are. Now they milk them until the guys are 35. Who gives a shit?
what do you
Benitez
think
and
about
Leonard
that?
fought when they were under 23.
Yeah.
It was
Benitez
insane.
and Leonard too. Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about that?
Who?
The 15 rounders.
Yeah.
Good to go back to that.
I don't even understand that.
You know what? I can understand why they had to go away from the guys. More guys were dying. Think about dragging it late. If a fight is debilitating and then there's a late stoppage, a lot of times it's always, you see it now. Every time you see a violent
15
fight that has a
rounders.
dragged out, debilitating KO later, even goes to points, guys get.
Those last
I'll
3
tell you
are
what.
brutal.
So those 15
I was
rounders
fortunate
were
to work
causing
with
that.
Livingstone Bramble at the end of his career. It was a
Mhm.
15-round fighter. It was
Yeah.
one of the last 15-round
Yeah.
fighters. And those guys were different, man.
Yes.
I'm telling you right now, them motherfuckers.
No, having done 12, you have an appreciation more for those guys. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Ray Mancini
12 is a
time
long
about
time.
the greatness of like Floyd Mayweather and everything else. And Mancini goes to me, yeah, you know, it's a different thing, though. You got to rate the 15-round fighters in a separate category than 12-round
I
fighters.
agree.
And I didn't get it. And then I saw that Ray was ahead of Arguello in round 14 or 13 when he got knocked out. And then I said, in a 12-round, the Ray becomes world champion.
Yeah.
against
I
Arguello
read
at
a
21
thing-
years old. For Ray, that hits home when you ask him about the different eras. Because you know what? A 12-rounder would have changed the result of that fight. And then I thought about all the fights that would have been different results with 12
A
rounders.
lot of them.
Leonard versus Hearns would have been different with 12-rounder. Marciano versus Walkout would have been different with 12
but
rounder.
Arguello would have fought different if it was 12.
Think so?
Yeah, he was that good.
Good question here. Who's likely to become the face of boxing after Canelo retires? Gentlemen, what would be your guess? Let's start with you.
I've been saying Benavidez for a long time. I think he has the goods, but I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Emiliano Vargas.
I think he's got more development though. It's
He
not,
does. He's got to develop.
He's got a lot more.
But I think you can. I think you can. I think you can.
After
I think you can
we
maneuver
need a
that. He's
placeholder
talented
before
enough.
then. You need a placeholder before then.
Need a placeholder before then.
Well,
Well,
you always say skills pay the bills. And one thing about Benavidez, I lived with him for a time. I did some camps with him for a time. He's got a great personality.
Yep.
He can box. He can box much better than
He can
people
fight,
think.
too.
But the main thing is exactly
mean streak.
He can fight. He can fight his ass off.
And
but
he
can
wants to
box.
fight
So
everyone.
I think he has all the intangibles to carry it fight after fight.
if
I don't know
Canelo
if
wouldn't have
some of
ducked
the
him
other
though,
guys
it
do
would have given that.
Oh
that-
shit, he would have
That
that
changing
fight
of the
right
guard
there,
thing.
he
That's why this guy, gets. Then this is where he's not my boy anymore.
No,
you know
I
what I mean?
think
When I think
Benavidez
about
is
that.
my guy,
I mean,
though.
he was my guy when he
That's my guy.
interrupted
I think
Dana White.
he's the face of
and he's not
boxing.
my guy. When I think about that, it's like, oh.
He can box, he can fight, he can do it all.
Because really, I mean, who has as many fights as developed as he is that could hold that mantle? I think Benavidez is the only guy,
Yeah.
right?
Some of the other guys, they got the look, they got this. Maybe they could box, maybe they could fight. But
If all
he's got the
sanctioning
whole
bodies
package.
had same weight,
Yep.
same day weigh-ins, and what weight would Crawford compete at? Interesting.
Guys, he's still cutting weight for 68. By the way,
Yeah.
people are forgetting.
Yeah.
that.
But I
He
think Crawford
added
could fight at
muscle.
54 if they had same day weigh-ins.
Yeah, 54.
I mean,
Crawford
he
did.
could have, not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, once you allow your body to go up, as Roy Jones found out, it's very difficult to get it back down. You add that muscle, you add that different hydration, you add that
Here
different,
comes Crawford.
Lean tissue doesn't come off the same
Yeah.
way.
Man, he's looked good.
especially as you're older. It's even more difficult, right,
Yeah.
champ? Heavier on your body.
It's harder to build it, harder to take it off too.
He says, "Why is everybody booing? It's Mexican Independence Day, buddy."
Yeah.
He said he was ready for the booze.
Yeah. For a guy like him, boos and cheers are the same, I think. Like,
Yeah, there's an energy there. Let's see how they look on the scale. What do you think, champ? You talk about how they look on the scale.
I
after
think he
hydration?
actually looked better at the first weigh-in.
Oh yeah, of course.
he looks filled in now. He doesn't look as like
lean and tight, right?
not even as tight. The first weigh-in, I saw those photos like and it was video too. I'm like, man, he looks strong.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes you look better the next morning though when you sleep it off.
No,
As
you
long as you don't eat heavy.
rehydrate, you refill. Yeah, the muscle gets full because when you're on a scale for the weigh-in, your muscles are flat.
Yeah. Like that at night after a weigh-in, I used to smooth out
Look
a
at
little
that.
bit. But by the next
That's a
morning,
fire plug right there,
was
buddy.
ripped again.
yeah.
That's a tree stump.
Yeah.
yeah, he's like a fire hydrant too. Speaking of
Yeah,
fire hydrants and
no
big-
neck, no neck all the way
I walked
down.
in to spar him. He was 20 years old. His neck, his ankles, his wrists, his elbows.
Everything.
I'm like, how old is this guy?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Did you go through puberty when you were 9?
Yeah,
What's the
for
deal
real.
here? Yeah.
I mean, he had 32 fights when I sparred him. So
Gee, boy, that
How about Canelo? How does he look on the scale?
whoa.
What do you think, champ?
yeah, he looks good.
That's a solid looking
Yeah,
dude,
he's
man.
filled in quite a bit since the weigh-in.
I don't know, man. I feel like he's gonna
He
sell
filled
out a
in.
little
He filled
bit
in
more
nice.
tomorrow.
Yeah, he will. He filled in nice though.
Last stare down before you see each other in the ring, right?
Yep. See, Crawford looks big, man.
No, he's big, but
He
no
doesn't
doubt
look
about
like,
it.
that's not a real boxer build.
But
though.
I'll tell you what.
But Crawford also isn't Mr. Body.
Yeah. You don't
Crawford
change the
also
density.
isn't Mr. Body Beautiful when he fights. I mean,
Yep.
even at the lower weight classes, guys,
Yeah, but he's always a really lean muscle. He doesn't look the same.
I'll tell you what. The way when we see Lester tomorrow, how he looks. If Lester looks really good tomorrow, I'm gonna keep in mind that Terence been sparring him the whole camp. So if Lester looks really good tomorrow, that means Terence should be sharp. Because Terence,
I'm picking Lester to win unless he gets hit with something big.
I'm saying the way he looks. If he wins and looks good, I think Lester wins too. But if Lester looks really good, I'm gonna also feel like this has been Terence's main sparring partner.
Canelo looks good. He looks really good.
He's got Chepo next to him too, so he came out.
He looks leaner than usual.
Got the black wife beater.
Oh yeah,
Jean-Claude Van Damme is
more
back.
Italian than Paulie.
Yeah.
Hey, he's got Chepo with him too. The old man came out.
Blast a little Stevie B. Let's go.
When I sparred him, Chepo was in the corner. It was that long ago.
Let's see TC.
So you know he's really was the ground up.
Let's see what Terence says.
Chepo's great. Really.
Oscar Laros. He had a lot of great fighters.
That's it.
Man, a few words.
He's happy though.
Blowing a kiss to the Mexican fans.
Look at that chin.
Yeah. That's a square-jawed Mexican, man.
Woo. That's a bad man right there, though, Crawford, too. And you can see he's focused, man.
Canelo's not smiling. He's smirking. Crawford was all smiles.
Yeah.
Very different. Take what you will from that.
Well, here's the way I've always approached this, and I would love to get your guys' thoughts on it. A great man once said, change ain't good, Leo. It's the idea of a fighter's always smiling, you want him smiling. If he's always smirking, you want him smirking. It's when someone looks tight who's normally not loose. If someone looks loose who's normally tight.
Jimmy, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, please.
I was at the Spence Crawford.
Yeah.
Crawford didn't smile one goddamn time that entire week. He looked like the Grim Reaper.
Dialed in.
Entire week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never
that's what I mean.
Crawford has always been a mean guy in general, though, you know. But let's see how he shows up tomorrow. Because if he's got his game face
mean
tomorrow,
out there just now.
Yeah.
The telltale is going to be when he gets tagged.
Yep. All right. Yeah, this idea that as they were just saying here, that the problem with Canelo's last few opponents is they fought to survive. They didn't fight to win.
Yeah.
This idea that Crawford is going to fight to win, and that's going to be a significant difference in the fight. Paulie, what's your thought on that? That the preparation for Canelo wasn't there simply because the guys he fought last time. We're talking about William Skull.
Well,
we're talking about Benavidez. I mean, not Benavidez.
Berlanga.
This idea that guys at a certain
the
point
choice of
check out.
opposition
Yeah.
was calculated. He knew he was choosing fighters that were subpar, and a lot of times subpar fighters will fight like they're happy to be there. You know, like it's their one payday. It's their it's their biggest moment. They may never be at that level again. You know, it's they still have a lot to prove, but instead of fighting like they have a lot to prove, they fight like like they've already arrived. You know, and I think you could see sort of the writing on the wall there. You know, there was not a lot of super impressive things going on when, he picked Skull, for example, with one of very close decision against Shishkin, right? It was a lot of people thought Shishkin beat Skull. So he kind of like low-hanging fruit. I like that. Berlanga hadn't looked good in forever. And he hadn't really had a key win to put him on this level. You could say even prospects like Pacheco were probably better than Berlanga, but he picked Berlanga. Again, low-hanging fruit. I'm going to take that too. So
I will say this, though.
But
I know.
With Skull, right, though? With Skull, he had to fight him
Skull
to get the IBF to unify the title.
Skull was mandatory.
like he had to fight the mandatory.
No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. You're right. No, Skull was not a mandatory. He had the belt that he didn't have.
So he got to unify it and go
And Berlanga, I will tell you this, the powers that be behind Berlanga were pushing for that fight.
Yeah, of course.
Years.
I don't necessarily.
Well,
not.
everybody's manager's pushing for that
Listen,
Canelo.
Yeah,
fight.
you all want that.
I mean,
pay.
everybody wants.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
wanted the
I mean,
rematch with Lara.
exactly.
We're still calling
The
out for
powers
that
that
rematch
be-
with Lara.
The powers that be also wanted the third Golovkin fight right away, and we had to wait 5 years for it. Until Golovkin was 175 years old. So the whole powers that be.
I don't mean.
thing
No.
doesn't really mean
Powers that be
anything.
are not.
It's him
I'm-
who
when
chooses
I,
his
I
opponents.
used the wrong term. I don't mean the powers that be. I meant the powers behind Berlanga.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
terms of who his management was and his
Yeah.
individual team
Yeah.
was working for that for a while. It's one of the reasons
You're the-
Top Rank got rid of him.
Once he stole from Golovkin, you couldn't put a gun to the guy's head to get him back in the ring. Golovkin until he knew Golovkin was old. He will fight guys he knows are limited. That's what's interesting about this fight. There's still a limitation there because Crawford being smaller, but I do think that Crawford
Nah, this
will
was forced
sell
down
out.
his throat too.
I think Crawford will sell out though. I think
do,
Crawford. The guys he's been fighting. Speaking of selling out and talking, we've been talking a lot about Canelo need to sell out, but I think Crawford is different from the recent opponents in that he'll sell out. You know what I'm saying? I think you don't really see Charlo sell out.
If he does, we're going.
Didn't really see it. We saw the exact opposite.
But what I'm saying is,
It's going to be a tremendous fight. If
no,
he sells out.
because Crawford may not need to sell out. What if Crawford is such a superior boxer that he beats him and starts starts picking him off and
the only
takes
way
a big
the
lead? Then you don't need to sell out. Then Canelo needs to sell
The only way
out.
that happens
But if it
is Canelo is super diminished. There's no the best version of Canelo or even a very good version of Canelo does not get schooled.
No, Bivol didn't school him. No, Bivol didn't school him.
Evil's 175 pounds. You got a guy coming from 147. There's no way Crawford. If Crawford schools him, it's
and Bivol,
Bivol school. Bivol
That's a
school
big
him with.
guy.
Bivol schools
Bivol-
every version of Canelo. He's
Yeah.
too big. He's too good. His style's not good for him. The
Very
in and out.
disciplined, long reach.
Bivol would have fought him at 168. He even said it. I'll fight him. I'll make 168 and fight him again. The guy wanted nothing to do with him. Come on. I mean, it ain't how much bigger.
Because he beat him again.
Exactly. So
You'll never beat. You would never
Exactly.
beat Canelo.
Exactly. So let's.
But
let's
that's
keep it
not
real
that's not
here.
Crawford, dude. That's not. I mean,
Well,
Bivol's- you've been
how
around-
many guys have been competitive with Crawford?
have you been around Bivol?
How many guys have been? Yeah, I've seen.
Big.
him.
He's a big.
How many guys have been competitive with Crawford?
You know,
You're Yurkus Gamboa in the very beginning.
Yeah, for a
You
few.
know,
It's big. Yeah.
you
For
know
a few
what?
rounds.
I
yeah.
give
For a few rounds,
Kavalauskas.
I give kudos to Benavidez Jr. and we talked about
yeah,
this off
he
air.
fought. He boxed well.
And remember, he's really a one-legged fighter.
Yes.
Because after he got shot in that leg, he was never the same. And I was in the camp. I was in the camp with him when he got ready for Crawford,
He
and he
toughed it
did.
out.
And
But
he
how
did
tough
pretty.
was he with Jamal Charlo too, though?
And he did pretty damn. No, he's a tough
He's
mother
tough as
effer.
shit.
He's just a one-legged guy, and I just don't see him nowhere near Canelo. I just don't see it.
No, you're right.
And that's
But
why I
what-
just can't. I just
but-
can't envision Bud. And I love Bud. I think pound for. I just it's just I can't get it
Killing
out
me,
of my
Bob.
head.
Now
that he's
I'm
going up
getting nervous.
3 weight
Now the
classes.
people are starting.
And
to
I
get
was in
nervous.
camp with Benavidez Jr. for that fight. I helped him get ready for that fight.
I'm going to ask our producer, Art. Art, can you roll another highlight of Crawford? Just to get you back. Just back where you need to be. Because when you see the highlight, Chris. What
about-
and me too.
What about the atmosphere?
we got a comment for Chris real quick. Chris, look like he's starring in the Breakfast Club with anybody get that reference?
Which one
Rob
would I,
Lowe.
which
Bob
one would I
did it.
be?
Me
Was
and
I,
Bob
would I be
got
the
it.
wrestler?
I got it.
Would I be the wrestler guy? Would I be the punk?
No, Rob,
Which one?
I'm looking. Yeah, that's not Breakfast. Rob Lowe's not in Breakfast Club.
No.
It's
Yeah.
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah,
he was the
that's
wrestler.
saying
He
almost
was the
fire was
wrestler.
Rob Lowe. Yeah.
Right?
He was the wrestler.
Yeah.
Probably that one.
Cut Vision Quest. You remember that one? Every wrestler watched
Risky
Vision
Business.
Quest. You know what
You
I'm
do the
talking
dance.
about.
You do the
know what I'm
dance
saying?
in Breakfast Club. Also dancing, remember?
Oh my, great stuff. We all remember it. But hey, Bob,
No one watching that remembers that.
Bob, what I want to ask you is, and we say it on air a lot, and I want to know your thoughts on it. We call it the happy to be here's. When we interview a guy and they're just like, wow, I'm at this level, how great. A focused fighter isn't, yay, I'm at the Super Bowl. You want to win the Super Bowl. Losing the Super Bowl is not acceptable. How do you, as a trainer, do you spot that in a guy? Do you try and get that out of a guy in camp? How do you keep a guy from having the happy to be here's in their first big fight? Is it possible, or is it on them?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things because I think obviously it's an individual sport, but I feel with my fighters, if they know you got their back, they know you're behind them, they know that you're with them, I think that they're more willing to bite down for you, believe it or not, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, like, hey, we need to get this done. I think with any good coach, when you're jockeying the horse, you got to know when you're pulling the strings here and there and what rounds to do and keep him focused because we're all human. So, your mind can wander. It's wandering to the crowd. It's wandering to this. You got to redirect that mind and that focus. And hopefully they're going to follow suit. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And that's the difference between the great ones and the not so great.
Well, speaking of somebody stepping up in the moment, during the press conference, of course, Dana White, promoter, was challenged a bit by some questions. We've tried to reach out to the reporter who asked the question. He's been unavailable since. But this is the question.
Shit.
Yeah, I know. He's been unavailable
that
since.
That doesn't sound good.
I hope he's not in like someone's luggage right now.
No, I think he's right now just apparently laying low, but asked some tough questions of Dana White. This is his question. Here's a response from the press conference yesterday.
Good evening, everybody. A couple questions for Dana. Dana, this fight, as you said earlier in the week, is set to be the third highest gate in combat sports history, the second biggest gate you've promoted alongside Mayweather-McGregor. The top 5 gates in combat sports history come in boxing, and they come in the last 10 years. So my question to you is, why then do you want to make sweeping changes to the Muhammad Ali Reform Act that is meant to protect fighters to bring about a business model that currently has your company already paid out $375 million in antitrust lawsuits and has 2 potential pending class action lawsuits on the way as well?
Well, this is obviously a long discussion. If you want to talk to me about that, set up an interview. This isn't about me and my business. It's about these 2 guys on Saturday night.
My follow-up, Dana. Earlier this week, the California State Athletic Commission had a hearing about TKO trying to bring those changes to the Ali Act, and it was postponed 3 months.
Listen, I get it. You want to showboat right now. Set up an interview with me if this is really what you want to talk about.
It's America, baby.
If you have
First
questions
Amendment.
for these 2, ask them and you can set up an interview with me.
Dana, my follow-up is, if TKO can't make those changes to the Ali Act, will you still invest in the sport of boxing? Will you compete in the market?
Listen, if you want to be an asshole, let's do it in private and we can do an interview.
Yes or
if
no?
you want to showboat, I get it. If you have questions for these 2 that are fighting on Saturday, that's a different story.
Fight.
This isn't a discussion to have at a press conference for these 2 that are going to fight on Saturday, 2 legends. If you want to set up an interview with me and ask me these questions, let's do it one-on-one.
Sounds
and
good.
You can ask me anything you want.
All right. Well, Terence and Saul, have a good fight.
Yeah, you have a question for these 2?
No.
No? Beat it.
As we saw, Dana White, the questions were directed at him, did not want to answer it, said, you want to ask these questions, interview you later. Don't think the interview has been set up that I'm aware of. We tried to get the journalist on tonight. Haven't been able to get a hold of him. He might be, kind of laying low at the moment because that clip did go viral. Paulie, what's your thought on Dana's dealings with boxing?
Yeah, first of all, kudos to Jean Zettel. My one criticism is going to be you got to stay alive after that.
Yeah.
You're going to get dogged by the clowns in the MMA community that will kiss Dana's ass even if he shits on their porch, but ultimately you got to stay alive after that and draw off that momentum. And I think Sean did a service to himself and in the sport by asking those questions. Because again, I was saying earlier, it's a little bit surprising. Dana tries to play off this egomaniacal role, and then like he's this big time promoter and he's going to change everything. When you're really just stepping into a situation where this event has been set up by the powers that be, the regime that you're trying to change is responsible for the rise of this event in
the development of both fighters.
So
in the
much
main event.
exactly, in
Right.
so much as Top Rank, Golden Boy, and Matchroom have had the promotional rights to these fighters in the past and have built them. Showtime, HBO, ESPN brought them up. So this event, while Dana's trying to make like he's the guy here, and I'm going to direct it and tell you who to ask the questions to. Nobody cares that Dana. Nobody wants to see Dana there. So while we got you there, since you're going to play the clown show and you're going to be the circus clown sitting up there, because all you are really is a glorified booking agent for this event. Turkey put his own money up to pay for this event and say, you know what, be the guy who runs this. You did nothing for this show at all. You got your league. Go play in your little sandbox in your league. Like I said, like everybody agrees, the league that really in the end is going to have some level of interest, but it's not really going to take off like you think it is because it's been done before, as I said yesterday, in different facets.
As did Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
I agreed with
Eddie
you.
Hearn and Prize Fighter. And he had Prize Fighter. The tournament.
Well, I'm just saying he agreed with exactly what we were saying.
Yeah, but also tournament fashion, you need world class level, and to get at world class level, you need to really pay for it. We've had the Super 6, we've had the World Boxing Super Series.
World class is fine, but you need
to pay. He doesn't want to pay.
Bingo.
That's why he wants. That's why he wants to do with these prospects. He wants to do prospect leagues. So you want to have your developmental Bush league and think that it's going to overtake boxing. But that's on you.
World class. Listen, we can go to the stand countries and we can get all the world class guys in the world, put them in a tournament. No one is going to give a shit if they're not stars.
Champ.
People
I'm talking about championship stars. We've done tournaments have happened, but you got to pay. Okay, there's World Boxing Super Series. There's the Super 6.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying.
You're gonna do
it with prospects. Again, you're gonna do it with prospects. It's like us was saying before, Chairman. Like Eddie has said. Eddie said it yesterday. It's been done before because Eddie did it himself with Prize Fighter.
Yeah.
He had Prize Fighter. Boxer was doing the same kind of tournament as Prize Fighter when Boxer first started. Okay, like you're not thinking outside the box here. You're not reinventing the wheel like you think you are. Everybody who comes into boxing new thinks they're gonna reinvent the wheel. They take a beating. They've faced a lot of money and they get their ass kicked and they leave the sport. Dana is shrewd in that he always knows how to use other people's money for this. Dana's been teasing an entrance into boxing for a while, but the reason he didn't enter is because he didn't want to use his own money. He built up the UFC through Fertitta money. Now, he's been teasing boxing for a while, but he never entered. Why didn't he ever enter? Because he's cheap and he didn't want to use his own money. He found this guy, Turki Al-Sheikh, who's going to fund this operation. So, okay, I'm going to use somebody else's money again, and I'm going to try this idea here in boxing. In boxing is a different world of penetration.
Different animal.
You know, pause. But it really is because it's an older business model. It's cemented in. It's not like MMA where 10 years into the whole creation of the sport, you came in and monopolized it in so many ways.
There's also other characters.
Exactly, because it's cemented in for decades and decades and decades. So you have your sandbox you want to play in with your little tournament, but that's fine, bro. That's good. But don't show up to this event like you're some kind of big shot, like you created this event. You're there as a pawn for the money guy who's Turki Al-Sheikh. You're told to do what you do, and like a kiss ass, you do what you do. Nobody respects it. Nobody. You didn't create any of this. We all know the old regime that you think is so bad is the one that's responsible for creating this whole event, and you're just here as a glorified booking agent, which frankly I'm shocked. I thought he had more pride than that, but in reality, when you sell off for money, you're going to sell off for money in any which way. So this is why there was no respect for him and why he got a question like that, because nobody wants to see you up there. So while we got you up there, we'll talk about the fact that, what are you going to do here? That's what we're interested in, because we're not interested in your ability to promote the show. You didn't create any of it.
Here's a question we have. Yeah, Chris, you see it?
Yeah, didn't Usyk get famous off of a tournament? These were world title fights. This was a higher level. This was not prospect
even the
level.
Super 6.
That question.
You got to pay a lot of money for
that question has no bearing for what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The entry level fighters,
the big fights. Those fights get you to those fights.
Because in reality, the championship tournaments could be something great, but you're going to pay for those. The whole business model is surrounded by Dana White is surrounded about paying guys less. That's what he wants to do with the UFC. That's why he's trying to eliminate the Ali Act. So that's why you cannot include world class fighters. You're trying to eventually phase out the world class fighters once they retire, and you're trying to build the next level of world class fighters off of your tournament stage where they're used to getting paid less, and you then change the model. It's going to be different because nobody's going to watch these tournaments. This is prize fighter all over again.
If that were to happen in that way, the sport would die in the meantime.
But you know what,
completely die in the meantime because there'd be no stars.
I think the best thing that the sport could do in these promoters, you look at Pro Box, you look at what Gary has done, Jonas with Pro Box, 50-50 fights. You never see so many B-side guys win fight. Anytime I get a call for the fight, people are worried about being A-side, B-side. I already know you're going to get a fair shake. Yeah. You know you're in a tough fight, and whoever's going to win is going to win. And I think if more promoters did that across the board, the success of the sport would go through the roof. And then you're going to have the cream rise to the top, too. So when they get to that level of competition,
it's also that ferocity, right? You want to see the guys fight with that level of ferocity because there's got to be – the ferocity that I'm talking about is the skill – mixed in with
Lester Martinez, guys like that.
Lester against Mbilli. That's a fight you want to see because they're still hungry, they're still determined. Again, why did Leonard and Hearns was such a good fight? They fought at a moment in their life where they were still ferocious. They're still hungry. Yes, they're champions, but they're also still have a lot to prove. 35-year-olds fighting 35-year-old don't have anything to prove anymore. Their legacy is sustained. So you want to see those fights like that, and that's why these tournaments have champions have worked in the past. That's why it's a good question the guy on Twitter put, but it just needed to be put in the right way. Usyk was in tournaments where it was a world-class level. Andre Ward won the Super 6 years ago. World-class level. These guys weren't past it already. There was still a lot to prove, and there was a lot to gain from winning that tournament. So if you can make those tournaments, but you got to pay a lot of money. The whole business model is centered. Around not paying guys, so they're not going to be able to do those kind of tournaments. That's why this guy's trying to create a Bush League tournament, low level, and then he thinks he's going to create stars out of it. But again, that's what happens when you bring a booking agent and try to make a play like he's for a promoter.
Bears,
I remember it well, but behind the scenes, let me talk about this real quick. Paulie and I were talking about Pride Grand Prix. We were talking about the light heavyweight Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Right? Great guy.
Dana wasn't involved with that either. That was Pride. That was before the doors closed at UFC. There was UFC fighters that went to Pride.
Japan paid huge money. People go, man, why did Japan have those great tournaments? They paid huge money.
But look at what they got.
Look what they got. Yeah.
If you make tournaments of stars, tournaments of champions, people will watch because you get the fights that a lot of times don't happen in boxing, and all of a sudden it can happen all at once. Those are amazing, but you need to invest in those because all those guys are champions. There's a VIP status to them.
Yeah.
But man, they fight their ass off because you get them all when they're hungry. You don't get them all. A 35-year-old went out into that tournament, no matter what level of fame he's at. But a championship level 27, 28-year-old will go in there ferocious.
But by the time with those guys got to the UFC, they were shot.
Oh, they were used up.
And they got paid a ton to still go to the UFC.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because
Rampage did well in the UFC.
They would still
Rampage became champion.
So did Liddell.
But even him only a couple years.
Nogueira became champion. Shogun wasn't the same guy. I can talk about it all day, trust me. But another side of this.
I
got to find that DVD.
I love all competitive sports, one-on-one sports. Boxing, UFC, I love it all.
Yeah, but this idea.
Competitiveness, man.
One-on-one.
Individual sports.
Tennis
man.
Grand Slams. Why are they so awesome when you get to like later that head-to-head?
There's nothing
because they're top
players.
Yeah, but they don't get
it.
damaged like fighters do.
Of course, but you know what? Everybody wants to watch because everybody wants to watch the number 1 and 2 guy go against each other constantly. You know what I mean?
That's right.
He fought him on clay. Now he wants to see him on grass, and he wants to see him on hard court.
This idea that the proof is in the pudding, where anytime there's a tournament structure in any combat sport, and I've called them all, literally, the idea is once you get out of the tournament, that fighter has to then do something. The Ultimate Fighter, people stop watching Ultimate Fighter a lot because the winner of the Ultimate Fighter ended up doing nothing in the UFC. So if you don't give me a great guy at
back
the
in
end,
the day, they end up being champions.
Back in the day, they were champions, and then slowly it started getting this guy won the Ultimate Fighter, and
they weren't good
even
enough.
a factor anymore.
Remember, I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one in boxing. I'll give you another one in boxing. Josh Taylor came out of the Super 6 or World Boxing Super Series and then beat Jessie Ramirez, who was a tough fight too. But you know what? Then his career was shortened too. I gotta say.
Well, we have a great
the Contender series. Remember the Contender, the TV show.
I do.
Yeah. Sergio Moro came out of there,
but you see those guys. You see that's a great example. The Contender was a tournament of really unknown prospects.
Yes.
How many of those really moved on to the next level?
Not many.
It's hard when people don't recognize them. You don't develop stars.
Sergio Mora.
Well, Ishe became champion too. And Fredo got a title shot. Ishe Smith became champion.
but they weren't. They never made the level you
didn't
expected.
create that level. Exactly. That's my point.
Sergio's the only one still around
before.
in the sport.
They quote John C. Reilly and stepbrothers. It's been done before. Make a band. It's been done before.
Gentlemen, the idea that we've had so many great voices on this show so far already. Well, let's have another one. Jessie Vargas joining us. Thank you so much, champ, for joining us, man. What's your thought of the excitement of this fight? We just saw the weigh-in. We just saw the crowd booing Crawford, cheering for Canelo. The energy. What's your thought on this fight, man, in terms of the energy around it right now?
And honestly, I think that it's showing to be one of the fight of the year. The reason being that, I mean, you got so much energy behind it. Everybody's really enthused to see who's really the best in the boxing division. Not only in the boxing world, you can say, right? Because both guys have been unified world champions. And right now we're going to find out who's literally the best in the sport of boxing. I know we have Usyk, right? I know we have other fighters like Inoue Inoue. But right now we have the two undisputed fighters that no one can argue that they are either number 1 or number 2 pound for pound. So I think it's very interesting. And somehow a lot of people have really grasped the idea that right now it's the best fighting the best. Yes, of course, the little one, that's the best, but also the big guy fighting the best. And we'll find out soon enough who's gonna win.
Champ, Jessie, do us all a favor. Tell us what a Canelo Las Vegas fight week feels like. You and I have been at a bunch of them. I'm actually not going to be there this weekend. You're there. I think you're there right now. Yeah, you're in Vegas as usual.
I think Jesse's from Vegas.
Yeah, tell these guys what it's like. Because I keep trying to tell Paulie. A Vegas...
I worked 7 Canelo fights.
Canelo, but lately, dude, it's different, man.
Like, they were big even back then.
That's huge. Please, Jessie, tell us what it's like out there.
Well, let me start off with this. Chris, it looks like you're in Las Vegas now with those glasses. You know what I mean? You took Las Vegas with you.
I flew in like an hour ago,
It's
bro.
Miami Vice look.
I'm here.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it looks good on you. But of course, I mean, in Vegas, we have a lot of great energy. Everyone's really excited about the event, but also for the after party. You know what I mean? That's what Vegas is all about.
Well, Vegas is always a good after party, right, Chip?
That's right. This is a boxing capital of the world. New York being second, the Mecca boxing world of the world. But right here, capital of the world, boxing capital of the world. And honestly, everyone's really excited. I think that a lot of people don't know what to expect. They know that Canelo's the bigger guy. He's stronger, right? He's technical. And on paper, he should win because he's a bigger guy. And then Terence Crawford being the more technical fighter out of the two, the one with the high ring IQ. But will the size make a significant difference? That's the question. I mean, you look at the odds nowadays. I think starting today, the favorite, I believe, is Crawford, which surprises me because he's the smaller guy in the division. Yeah, that's what the odds have changed like before. I mean, I was looking at the odds very much. I was looking at the odds the day before yesterday, and I think Crawford was a plus 170, and I thought, okay, it's pretty close. I can't believe it's that close. I mean, he's 2 divisions smaller. Going up to fight Canelo at his weight division, and now he's actually the favorite, surprisingly. So, I mean, that must say something. If
Jessie,
the sportsbook says yes.
Jessie, I got a question for you. Based on that notation, do you think Crawford can get a decision? Because it's hard to see Crawford knocking out Canelo.
I'm with you on that. I don't think he knocks him out, although I do think that he will frustrate him. Then again, you got to understand, I mean, you got to look at it from the perspective of Canelo. He's been fighting recently in really slow-paced fights, right? And if he gives that opportunity and fights in the same way with that slow pace, kind of just waiting. Like that. Those two. It's like he's on 2 tree trunks. You know what I mean? Like every step is like 200 pounds.
Lumbering,
he can barely move. So for
he's got to
sake,
set his feet to punch.
Exactly. He does that with Crawford, man. It's not going to be a long night for him, and guess what? He's going to be harder to land a punch.
But Jessie, my question is, can he get a decision? I know we can think Crawford won, but can he get a decision? You know how Vegas does with Canelo.
To be honest with you, man, I personally, I'm not going to tell you why, but I will tell you that I think if it's a close fight, for some reason, I'm going to say they're going to lean towards Crawford. I mean, he is the underdog.
Could he have some outside information here?
Oh, Joe, you're giving us some gems here, bro.
They love him. Man, they love him in Las Vegas. Crawford has been a special person, a special fighter, special athlete in Las Vegas. Most of his big wins were in Las Vegas. So honestly, everyone loves him here.
Yeah, and he's undefeated.
Yeah, he's undefeated.
Well, champ, I mean, but Canelo has been a staple in Vegas as well. Is it more because it seems like Turkey likes Crawford more than Canelo? Is that potentially an issue of why we might lean that way if it does be a close fight?
That's a good question. I can't really say that even if I did have the answer. But honestly, no, I just think that, I mean, Crawford is a fan favorite fighter. Of course, I mean, the Mexican fans are always going to go Canelo all the way. People love Crawford too, though. So I think that the fans are going to be divided, and we'll see soon enough. We are going to watch a great fight. We're going to see. Tell you what, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make a big difference, which you guys, I'm sure each and every one of you know this, but I think that if Canelo doesn't really increase his speed, well, didn't increase his speed in training camp, he's going to be in for a long night because he's going to be very hard for him to land a punch against Crawford. With that being said, he's going to have to rush Crawford immediately, right off the bat, break him down, hit him to the body, lay his weight on Crawford because Crawford isn't used to carrying that big 175, 180 pounds on top of him on fight night, right? And I think that's the advantage that Canelo has. And if he doesn't jump on it early, he's in for a long night. But he's also a dangerous fighter because if he lands a punch on Crawford, I do think that he could put him in trouble. Although, I need you guys to correct me on this. I'm not sure. I think that Crawford, when Crawford gets hurt in the past, or when he has been hurt, it's been like by guys like by Gamboa. He got done a little bit.
Kavalauskas.
There it is. But it's more like that sharp, fast punch, right? It's like, bah! It's like it shocks you, right? But you see him fight with other guys that have heavier punch, like Sean Porter. The heavier punch is like a thump. It's like a hammer that hits you. Yeah. That's the type of punch that Canelo has. And if you look at the past fights that Crawford was in with fighters that had that type of power, he was able to withstand that. And as you guys know, you guys are fighters. Whenever you get hit with those 2 different type of punching styles,
very different.
I think very different, right? Some can take the heavy hammer, and others can take the like that fast explosive, and then vice versa, right? So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jessie. That's the comparison you make. I always use the 2 guys to make a different, similar fighters, but different fighters. I always use Trinidad and Cotto. Trinidad had that laser power that would separate you from your senses. Cotto had that caveman power that made you miserable because it was so painful and heavy, but it didn't have enough to separate you from your consciousness. So it is 2 kinds of power. It's a great point Jesse's making, and it's something that's not talked about enough, I think, in boxing. boxing in terms of when we talk about punching power and guys. Jesse, Champ, you brought up the physicality point of view. I want to ask you a question because we had Mikey Garcia on earlier, and he said, yes, Canelo's bigger, but he's not really that kind of fighter that lays his weight on you and fights physically. He's more of a tactician. So is there a chance that we would see him use that physicality for the first time in his career here? Because he's typically a guy, like you said, he doesn't throw a lot of punches, and he's more tactical. Do you see that as a necessary change that's needed for him if he's going to be successful?
Honestly, if he wants to win, I'm sure, yeah, he's going to have to for sure. And if he didn't plan that way, then honestly, he's in for a long night. Because for him to counterpunch Crawford, really? Yeah. I mean, I don't know what world he's in, but I'll be honest with you. You can't counterpunch Crawford. You just can't. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and he switches stances constantly.
Exactly. He takes his time. His ring IQ is close to perfect, honestly, in my point of view. Probably one of the best in the boxing game. But going back to what you were saying, I think that if Canelo doesn't jump on that pressure and that constant pressure throughout the fight, then he's in for a long night. It's going to be very tough for him to get a win in Las Vegas. And Crawford, well, we already know what he's going to do. He's going to try and stay at bay, try to keep him at distance, try to keep him at jab, counterpunch him the entire way in. He's probably not going to stop Canelo, right? But I mean, he's gonna just try to hit him just enough to where he's keeping him away. Keep in mind, I mean, Crawford also has a little bit of background in the wrestling and grappling area, right? So he's gonna know exactly how to move him, and he's a strong guy physically. So he's also gonna be able to challenge Canelo a few times here and there in the clinches, and that's something to keep in mind. So if I were to bet, I'd probably bet on a draw. To be honest with you, that's how tough a fight it is.
Those nice 25-1 odds, dude.
All right, Champ, I'm gonna Venmo you some money. Throw it down in Vegas for me. But listen, Champ, I want to ask you if you brought up some great points. You're not gonna counter Crawford. Did anyone watch the Carlos Adames Crawford sparring at Gleason's gym in New York City?
No.
Yes.
What was that?
Bro, it was countering counters.
Yes.
Crawford just wouldn't stop. It was like a computer game. He looked like AI.
This is great.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
He looked like AI, dude.
Why does everybody know about this? Is this on YouTube or something?
I mean, apparently, me and you are the only ones that know about it. But it's, dude, the way he was able to counter. And, Champ, to your point, Canelo likes to outbox all these guys lately. He likes fighting bigger, slower men because he can go out there and box. He hasn't had to be the guy that Paulie's calling for, the bruiser who's going to come beat you up and use that body. When's the last time he was that guy? When was the last time Canelo was a guy who made the ring small and beat you up?
He hasn't been that guy in years, but let me tell you something. I keep going back.
That was a long time ago, Jesse.
I keep harping back to the point. You better have more than a BB gun coming into this gunfight.
Yeah,
you better have more than a BB gun.
All this talk really makes me think about this.
I'm just telling you, you better have more to keep him off because if you can't keep him off, he can go right at him.
The more you talk about it, the more layers there are to this fight. Let's add another layer. Lance Pugmire, how you doing from boxing indoors? Good to see you inside this time. What are your thoughts on, of course, the weigh-in, all the energy coming in? What's your thought on the ground right now, my man?
No, really interesting, guys. I mean, it seemed as if Canelo and Crawford appear to be the same size, and I think we have to go back to those prior fights that Canelo has had versus the likes of, Amir Khan and Jermell Charlo and Munguia even, when, it looks the same until the fight starts, and especially around that fifth, sixth round, these guys start feeling that weight and start wearing down, and that's when Canelo strikes. So that, to me, that's going to be the thing that we're going to have to watch. Is history going to repeat itself again?
Jesse, last question for you before I let you go, man. What round do you think we'll know what kind of fight this is? Do you think it's a mid-round kind of fight? Do you think it's a late-round kind of fight? Or do you think we're going to know early on? What's your thought, man?
Honestly, anything could happen in boxing, as you all know, but I think in the first 3 rounds, we'll be able to find out what Canelo's working with, whether he has the speed and the reaction time, the fast reaction time to be in a fight against a guy like Crawford. We'll find out, though. I think it's going to be a close fight regardless.
One more thing. And you guys talk about Canelo fight atmospheres. Early on in a Canelo fight, the tension is thick, bro. Everybody's cheering for every punch thrown that Canelo throws, even if it lands or misses by 3 miles. Can that be a motivator? Can that maybe bring the best out of Canelo early, like you're talking about, like he needs to do?
You know what? I think it definitely can, but honestly, it all has to do with his training camp. If he worked speed, agility, that quick reflexes, that pressure that he has to do consistently, then maybe it might work. When it comes to the crowd, I think that the crowd isn't going to make much of a difference because Terence Crawford has been used to it, right? Usually the crowd makes a difference. As you know, whenever you're fighting someone that hasn't been at that level, or maybe gets nervous in the big stages when the big lights are on. That's not the case with Crawford. So no matter how much the fans are going to cheer for Canelo, I mean, it might hype up Canelo, but what's that they're going to do to Crawford? It's only going to hype him up more as well. Keep in mind, his mom used to pay other little kids to beat him up when he was young. You know what I mean? So if
that's
you're
more
going to have
nerve-wracking.
someone, so
Crawford's a junkyard dog, man. He don't care where
built
he
for it.
Yeah.
He's got a dog
Thanks,
in him.
Chip.
Jesse, thank you so much for your time, man. Appreciate it. Lance, when we saw the fighters on stage, a lot of jawing, of course. Callum Walsh, Fernando Vargas Jr., they were jawing at each other a lot, man. We were talking a lot about the energy of the undercard fighters and what they're trying to prove. Did that come across to you, man, as well?
Yeah, look, as we talked about yesterday, guys, I think that those two undercard fights under the main event are both going to be spectacular events. Probably, you know, you can make the case that both of those fights will be better than the main event. You know, look, there's so much at stake in the 168-pound fight between Lester Martinez and Christian Mbilli, and you know these young guys, Fernando Vargas and Callum Walsh. It's a good thing because, you know, like, if these guys, whatever happens in this outcome, neither of these guys is probably going to be that diminished if it's a hell of a fight. And I think that both of these guys have the opportunity to really elevate their profile and who they are and their brand, and really, you know, step forward and say, like we've talked about before, Callum Walsh has the opportunity to be the face of this new TKO boxing promotion, and Fernando Vargas, you know, look, the Mexican fan base is dying to add a guy that they can get behind if it can be these brothers. I mean, what a great boon for the sport.
What is the energy like there in Vegas? Chris has talked about it, the energy that goes with the Canelo fight, and especially in the last few years, man. Can you feel it there?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I was going to say too about the weigh-in is, did you guys see how Terence Crawford, who just loves to, you know, find that chip on his shoulder, how much he leaned into the boos that he was receiving?
Yeah.
This is literally music to his ears. I mean, this is everything he lives for. One time I had an interview with Terence Crawford, and he told me, "I'm not going to talk to you." And he's like, "You know what you did." And I'm racking my brain. What did I do? What did I do? This guy looks for the smallest slight to make a big deal of. For
Michael Jordan style.
And I took that personally. Full of people booing him. I mean, he's eating this up.
What was it, by the way? Did you ever find out what it was?
Lance, what'd you do? What'd you say?
No idea, guys. No idea.
Still didn't figure it out.
No idea. But I got the interview, so that's all I care about.
Oh, okay. You eventually got the interview. That's good.
Yeah.
But this idea that you know, so many eyeballs are going to be on this, promotion, not just the fighters themselves, which is going to be significant. Netflix, how the production looks, obviously Dana White stepping into boxing promotion again. The idea that people are going to be watching this from so many different angles, not just the fighters, but the promotion itself. Is that a big story as well?
It is, guys. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Perfect timing, perfect promotion. I just posted a story on Boxing Scene right now, looking at TKO's first jump into boxing. There's a lot of fear out there in the industry about what these guys intend to do. Are they going to try to take over the sport? You know, I got comments from Bob Arum and Lou DiBella saying, no, you know, it's the Wild West. They're not going to be able to, you know, take over the sport like some people think they are. But then again, others are saying, look, they're going to be probably entering with a major TV deal. And who else has a major TV deal in the U.S. right now? So, you know, it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to be watching. There's going to be a lot of discussion on for the rest of this year into 2026. What I was able to find out in the story is that, you know, some of it has been laid out already. They're planning around 12 to 14 of their I would guess you would call these like these contender fights that they're doing, which are very similar to what Pro Box TV does. And then in addition to that,
Lance, I don't know about if they're going to be Pro Box TV, boy. That's a high bar to be set with that competition. That's a high bar, but I know they're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the idea, Lance, right? That's the idea.
I had a line in my story, just so you guys, we can get a little inside baseball on this. I had a line in my story where I said they're trying to mimic Pro Box TV, and they took it out.
Yeah.
But they are.
What about the Lance? Well, we finished that thought you were saying. So 12 to 14 of the Contender Series shows, and then
I think they're going to try to do about 3 to 4 major fights. And this is one of the things I had I mean, I can only say so much here, but I had some conversations on background here. And, one of the things that I said was, are they going to be domestic fights? Because I think that's one of the big beefs about what Turkey Al-Sheikh is doing. He's taking these big fights and he's taking them out of the country, and it just doesn't have the same, zest to it. So they said, look, we're going to try to make these domestic fights. And I think that is a good thing for the sport. If we can bring more of these fights to the home countries, which really, loves the sport and has shown that love, like we're going to see on Saturday night. That is something that is going to fuel and boost the sport.
Yeah, even Ben Eubank was a major atmosphere. You need those kind of fights to be in the domestic country of the fighters, because
you put that fight somewhere else and it's not the same fight.
The atmosphere is irreplaceable. So that's actually a great point you make, Lance. Those it's important because the Contender Series shows are going to be really unknown fighters where they're going to be attempting to create new stars, and whether that's going to work or not is still debatable. But the major championship fights, those are heavily reliant on obviously being very competitive, which we've seen Turkey Al-Sheikh is capable of doing. But the atmosphere is something of importance in big fights like that, because you want the casual to also feel like they're watching a sport where they want to get attached to it, because this is something that everybody wants to watch. I want to watch it too, as opposed to a casual turning on a show where there's no atmosphere, and even though it's a great fight, they're thinking like, watch it, the sport, So you want to start attracting new fans as well. So I think the atmosphere also helps as well as the competitive matchups.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Look, I think that as we look at what's going to happen Saturday night, this is going to be a great preview, on so many levels of how they can run the show. To be honest with you, there has been a lot of complaints out here all fight week. There has been complaints from the sanctioning bodies and the way that they've been treated. Even up to today, they don't have their credentials in hand for tomorrow night's fight. They've been treated very shoddily. Look, they are no matter what you think of the sanctioning bodies, they are the ones who have their belts on the line. They're used to being treated a certain way. They say that they help promote the fight, and I know they extract a pretty heavy 3% fee from the fighters, but they feel slighted out here, as do a lot of media members, not just myself. Obviously we're banned from the coverage, or at least restricted from it. But a lot of people are complaining about just the things that they're used to, whether it's quotes that we can receive from various things, or photos that we have access to. It's been rather shoddy, to be honest with you. And so moving forward, this TKO promotion has a lot to prove to a lot of people.
And Lance, even that press conference, it was very UFC style, right? Champ, you were making that point. It was like everybody has to wait in a line and then ask a question. That's not really boxing style. That's more so UFC style. And again,
I don't know how many more we're going to see of those if they don't pick and choose and cherry pick who's allowed to speak, because that didn't go well.
And even Dana being the guy that runs it, at the end they ended up moving over from Max. But again, Dana has no real history in the sport. He has nothing. He's not created anything in the sport yet. So there's a lot to prove for him as well.
Yeah, there is, and no doubt about it. And look, the other thing that we talked about yesterday is that for the UFC to come in here and act like it's going to run roughshod over the sport, I don't think that is going to go very well. And yesterday's news conference was a perfect example of that, when one reporter, Sean Sattel, asked Dana White a very tough question about his involvement in boxing, and if they're going to walk away if they don't get these federal regulations changed. And he ended up saying that he was just asking the question for his own profile, and called him an asshole. And then you've got a situation where Max Kellerman was out there carrying the water of Dana White, basically calling him the greatest promoter of all time.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing and laughable.
Canelo really stepped in at the right moment there and then cut him off. That was very necessary.
He did.
I'm glad Canelo's English has gotten so good that he can actually fight in English now, because if you notice, he's gotten way better at English, and he was able to cut in right at the right time. He's listening to that, and he was like, "Oh, I understand what he's saying." No, absolutely not. So that was a big save. Good,
and from a guy with the profile of Canelo, it's really
a big deal,
priceless.
Is the key to you, Lance, going to be the reaction of the fans? Because when you say a press conference was or was not successful, or a fight was or was not successful, It's the fans that really decide at the end. And the fans didn't appreciate the comments of Max Kellerman. It seems to me when I look at it, this idea that it's the fans are going to decide whether or not this is successful. Is that how you feel about it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the bottom line is the other thing is that who deserves credit for these events, guys? It's the fighters. It's Canelo Alvarez, who for a dozen years has been bringing these events to Las Vegas that have really captivated the city. And this is a tradition. This is Canelo's tradition. I know, whatever you guys think of him, you think of him, but this is his thing. And it's the fighters are the ones that are out there, putting their lives on the line and doing their thing. The promoter is a secondary figure. And I think for these guys to maybe come in a little too heavy-handed and act like they are the ones that are going to change the game is not going to be well received at all.
Lance, thank you so much for your time. Lance Pugmire, boxing scene. We know you're doing great work out there. Thanks for your time, buddy.
One thing, Lance, before you go. I'm just shocked that you didn't get a press credential, not just with the boxing scene. I mean, my God, you work for the LA Times. If you can't get a press credential, who the hell can? Wow, that's just shocking to me.
Yeah, he's one of the most awarded writers in boxing.
One of the biggest newspapers in the country.
Lance, we're just glad you're on our side, kid.
Appreciate you, Lance. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you so much, guys. Hey, I got a great covert plan to cover the fight tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. And have a good evening.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
I can't believe that.
Yeah,
hey, guys.
Yeah. Boxing scene.
But I'm saying LA Times.
Yeah.
You know the guy worked for the LA
Boxing
Times?
Writer Association award winner multiple times over. I mean, the guy got like 11 awards.
You know what?
That's why that's shocking to me.
Guys, we're always making movie references. I'm disappointed. Nobody caught the Bloodsport quote. I'm just glad you're on our side, kid. At the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, nobody caught the Bloodsport quote.
Bloodsport?
At the end when he hey guys, you're always late. You coming on the plane or what? Remember?
You see, let me tell you something.
Thank you.
I remember. I just
you have the old man
Let me tell you
cop.
something. See the difference between a fighter and a coach? He has all the time to watch these movies. I got so many fighters. I got crew in the morning, crew in the afternoon. I have no time to watch
kind of film.
You're
watching a different kind of film. But if you're from New York, you got to be a movie buff. New York is always a little bit of movie buff.
As a coach, I don't have I'm studying film all the time of fighters. My wife, hey, time for a movie, it never happens.
It's one of those things where, coaching's a full-time job. Fighting, definitely a full-time job. Broadcasting, we do as much time as we can. We study all the time. We're always studying. We're always trying to get better at our jobs. But when you look at this entire production, also the fighters, from what we're understanding, the main event doesn't walk till about 1 in the morning. One of the things that I was,
yeah, 1:15.
One of the things. Eastern time, of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that I was kind of wondering about, Dana's really been critical of the pacing of boxing shows in the past. When he was talking about Showtime, whatever, he said, oh man, their pacing's terrible. Man, that is a really late main event. Yeah. I thought they would pace it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, especially if the show starts. I'm looking at TV right now. It says 9 p.m. We're going to go 9 to 2 a.m.
That's a slow pace. And I'll tell you what.
No, that can't be right.
It's a 5-hour show.
Well, hopefully they change that. Hopefully what we say here has some bearing on them. But I'll tell you what. Having come from Showtime for so many years, we had a great production, and we had a really a lot of solid fights and a lot of solid shows for a lot of years when I was there. I'll tell you what, the start of the main event was really, really key in our production because even when we were on the West Coast, because of the fact we were always alert to the East Coast time, and so we didn't want to go. Yeah, but especially when it's a big show like this, it's obviously not every production because I don't know where these guys are coming from doing this.
No, this new world is not because Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was the same thing. Jake Paul and whenever
because you lose viewership, people go to sleep.
But also people don't care as much. I'm not going to care as much.
Yeah,
too tired.
You're half asleep. You're falling asleep during the fight by that point, or you start, I don't know, you're hanging with your girl, you end up having sex with your girl, you're done, the fight's over, you go to sleep afterwards.
This guy's such a mutt.
He's such a mutt. At 1:15, anything could happen. Anything could happen. You know what I mean?
On that note, gotta go to, of course, the guy who knows all about Paulie. Teddy Atlas, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Love it.
It's been a while. Great
Teddy,
to see
bring
you,
some
Coach.
class back to this group, please.
You guys got plenty of class. Plenty of class.
Classless.
We got all the class in the world.
No. You couldn't be with better people right there. And I'm out to dinner at the Cosmo with my family, and I would not have walked away from the table if it wasn't to go talk to good people.
Thanks,
Hey,
Teddy.
People with
We
class.
really
we
appreciate
won't
it.
take a
not
lot
do
of your
that.
time here,
Man.
Teddy. Well, one of the questions I want to ask you is something, obviously, Coach right here, Bob Santos, we've been talking about is that idea that Crawford needs to get Canelo's respect, maybe even early on in the fight, first 4 rounds, give him enough pop to kind of keep Canelo off of him. Do you think that's going to be a key to the fight for Crawford if you're in his corner?
See, I look at it differently. I
Please.
look at it, I guess, through a trainer's eyes and portal a little differently anyway. I mean, nobody could give you more than Paulie could give you. I mean, he could give you the best view of everything. But from my viewpoint, again, from the way I look at it, there's different ways to get someone's respect. You know, a lot of people, especially, out in the media, they always think, oh, the only way a smaller man is going to get a bigger man's respect is to hurt him. Well, how about frustrating him? How about making him miss? How about controlling range, where every time he tries to close the gap, he gets caught with something? How about that? Will that get his respect? Yeah. Will that, and what do we mean by respect? What do we really, let's define it. Let's break it down. We mean we want to get the guy to hesitate. We want to get him to be tentative. That's what we're looking to get. That's the end result. So if you can make a guy miss, if you can make a guy reach, if you can frustrate a guy, you can make a guy tentative. You can make a guy a little bit hesitant. And therefore, you have gained his respect.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's it.
Teddy, that's a great point. You know, you cause a guy to overthink that way, especially when half of those tentative movements end up in receiving counter punches. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they end up in not counter punches, but a change of range where you're reaching in. It could be various ways of frustrations. That's a great point, Teddy. I want to ask you something. A question that came up earlier tonight among the panel, and I think you're as good as anybody to answer this question. Because you've been a trainer at a world-class level for so many years and then obviously have a Hall of Fame credentials, who do you think has the advantage as far as the corner? Both guys have been with their trainers since they started, right? Really, it's a long time relationship for both. Who would you give the advantage to in the corner, and what are the positives and negatives of both?
All right, that's a real tough question, but I'm not surprised. It's coming from you, Paulie. No, it really is coming from a fighter who's an honest fighter and he's an honest commentator. He's gonna get right to the questions that really get to the heart of the matter. And I'm not gonna lie. I would like to sit in the middle of the fence because that's a hard thing. You don't want to insult anybody. You want to tell the truth, but at the same time, you don't want to. Both are good corners. Both are good for their guys. Obviously, both fighters have been with their guys a long time. They believe in their guys. And there's pros and cons to both sides. Now, I'm going to give you one side at the end, but I don't want in any way for the people on the other side to feel like that it was a knock on them. It's not. It's just that if you're going to pick, you have to eventually make a pick. It doesn't mean that the other corner is not a tremendous corner. First of all, I will make sure that I put this forward with this first. I think Canelo, his trainer, has done a tremendous job over the years of improving his fighter. Now, he's just gotten better. He has gotten better in technical areas. And I looked at that development of Canelo. Does a guy get better? Does he just get more experience? Does he keep winning for the same reasons? Because he was bigger, because he was stronger, because he was tougher, because he had maybe 300 amateur fights? Does he keep winning for only that reason with that dimension? Or have I seen progression, improvement? I've seen that in Canelo. That is a good trainer. As far as the corner goes, with the Crawford corner, with the three of them, you go Bomac, and then you got the other two. All of them. I have never seen a corner, and this is a big statement for me. It really is. I have never seen a corner have a fighter and fighters, because the Crawford's not their own fighter. I have never seen a corner have fighters that are better prepared tactically. Tactically, and that's kind of the question you ask me right now. Not from the other conditioning or just being ready or even improving as a fighter, but tactically, game plan, fight plan. I have never seen really, and it's a threesome. ever better at doing that. Ever. I have never seen one of their fighters not go into a fight, not prepared for the right fight plan, for the right strategy. Now, Paulie, how many times I know it frustrated the crap out of me all those years calling all those fights for ESPN. When I see a fighter at a top level, I see a guy get into the ring and fight a fight, and it looked like he had no idea what kind of fighter he was going to be fighting. I would say, wait a minute. Like it would piss me off. I would say, how do you not know that this guy was going to be doing these things that are obviously frustrating you, that you obviously did not prepare for? How on earth did you go into the fight this unprepared, not knowing the guy was going to do this? How?
Yeah.
How is that possible? But it's possible. It happens. But with these guys, never.
Yeah, Teddy, we were speaking about this earlier, and I likened the two different camps as in terms of soldiers and wars and armies. The Canelo team, they're a systems team. The guy does this, I do that. And he does it to everybody. That's what he does. It's A, B, C. It's a big unit. We're gonna come in. We're gonna do this. This is what we do. And then Bomac, it's guerrilla warfare. They prepare for the moment. They prepare for each fight differently. And it's not a systems approach where it's like, all right, every time this guy does that, when that guy does this, we are gonna do that. And it's different than making one system work for every guy. And that, to me, makes them...
It's always a specific strategy every time.
Exactly.
I agree. And that is what... I mean, it's not, one blueprint or one plan fits all.
Right.
It's not that. It is specifically tailored. It's like you. You can see. It's like you going to your tailor and getting a tailored suit. Obviously, you get tailored suits. You can see that. You're looking sharp. You're looking good. You're at that level.
Yep.
You're getting tailored suit. You go in there, you're not taking a suit off the rack. You're getting it tailored exactly for you. Specifications. And all kidding aside, that is the strength of Bomac and crew. They know specifically to the detail what they're getting into, and it's impressed me every time.
When you look at the weigh-ins today, a lot of opinions about how much weight is good for Crawford. Should he weigh more? Should he weigh less? How big should he be? Should he rely more on his movements? He wants to be the smaller guy in there. What was your thought on how they looked at the weigh-in and how much weight and size is going to be a factor, especially for Crawford?
Crawford has a new body. He picked up a new body. My only question from the trainers, again, obviously from the trainer's point of view, my only thing was, has he had enough time to acclimate in that new body? That's it for me. I see people going through a myriad of things. Well, what about this? What about that? What about that? All I want to know is, has he had enough time to walk around in this body, to wear this body, to try this body out? Is he comfortable in his body?
For 12 rounds.
12
rounds.
Right. Yeah, just walking around and
rounds.
fighting two different things, though. That's
12 rounds.
Has he had enough time to feel comfortable in the gym, in his combat area, in his body? Is he comfortable with this body now? I remember, I would do all the things from kind of old school things, just things that I believed in. When I had a fighter getting ready for a big fight, all of a sudden I see a shipment of shoes coming in. And all of a sudden they come in, Paulie, Chris, you understand this. And they all come in, all these new shoes. And I'm like, what are you doing? Is there for the fight? I said, unless you have like at least a couple days to wear them, you ain't wearing them. You should have done that 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
You should have done. I'm sorry.
I needed my last spar with my fight boots.
If you want.
Yeah.
Yep.
My last spar, I needed to wear my fight boots.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so same thing. I mean, I know it's a funny analogy, but the same thing. Has he had enough time? You wouldn't go into a fight with new shoes. Would you go into a fight with a new body? No, not unless that new body is comfortable and you've had time to wear them the way you wore the shoes. So that is one of the things that is sticking for me. And I'm a Crawford guy. I'm picking Crawford. I picked him from the day this fight was talked about, when he was a bigger underdog than he is now. So I'm not changed. But that is one of the things in my mind when you talk about the size. Has he had enough time to feel right?
Teddy, and remember, he went into the 54-pound fight, one fight, new body.
Yeah.
Now you're jumping up 2 weight classes.
100%.
Yeah.
Real new body.
Yeah.
So
and that's a good point.
it's going to be real interesting to see, boy. I can't wait to see it tomorrow for sure.
No, you followed that up. I mean, you're like a lawyer in a courtroom. You just said Exhibit A, Teddy.
Yeah. Well, Teddy, we know you're having dinner with your family. We don't want to keep you. Enjoy Vegas. Enjoy the fights. Appreciate you a lot, Teddy.
Thanks, Teddy. Great
input.
Don't worry. Listen, don't worry. No matter what, when I get back there, I'm still going to get the bill. So,
they're waiting for you. It's probably waiting for you on the table right now.
They're going to leave without you, Teddy.
I was hoping secretly that this was going to go on longer. So I get back there,
maybe someone else might pick it up.
They're going to hold it for you.
I doubt that.
They're going to hold it for you no matter how long it takes.
Hey, when it comes to the bill, everybody got alligator arms.
Appreciate you, Coach. Thanks, you so much, Teddy. Have a great time in Vegas.
You guys are the best. You guys are the best.
No, you are, Teddy.
Thank you so much, Teddy. Only Teddy would walk away from like a meal at a 5-star place and go, no, we're gonna talk boxing the whole time.
And do it with a smile the whole time.
And do it with a smile.
Time.
Guys,
great points. He made
great points.
The new body point was tremendous. I really that's really
it's a new suit of armor.
Especially that then Bob played lawyer and added a wrinkle to that.
Yeah.
You know, that was a
he's
great
done
point
it twice.
You know,
listen, guys, if you don't tune into our content, like it changes my mind when we're having these conversations. If you don't tune into this content, dude,
your mind's made up.
No. I'm not changing my pick. I'm saying my mind. I'm not changing my pick. I'm changing my mind. But like as we say this all the time, Paulie. We get all these different thoughts when we start talking to each other. If you guys are not tuning into this and getting this, how are you a real fan? How are you supposed to understand a sport?
Also, we say it on air all the time, but we always say like off air when we were talking about this, guys. All we do is talk fighting. Even before we get in here and we're eating or whatever, we're always talking about different angles of the fight.
What are we going to talk about? Your haircut? What else?
Hey! I'll shave it before tomorrow. All right, don't worry. We talk about your glasses. We talk about that. But this idea that the boxing knowledge is fight knowledge is what we're all about, man. It's our lives all the time, 24/7. But this idea that as different experts give their opinions, you do tend to sway. Bob, what does that tell you about this fight? Almost like every time somebody talks to you, I'm leaning Canelo, I'm leaning Crawford, because it's supposed to be like that in a big fight.
Well, you know, it's interesting. When Paulie and you guys said, well, who has the better corner, right? And who would you pick? And obviously, I went with Reynoso and them because I feel like they've been in the bigger events. And then you hear Teddy and you say, well, damn, that's a pretty damn good point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's a real damn good point. You know, I'm still leaning towards Reynoso and them because I feel like to Teddy's points, they're accurate, but I just feel like there's another element and it's guiding the corner.
Yeah.
It's having a game plan going into the fight is one thing. Making adjustments under pressure and reading your guy and to me, the guy who's been more comfortable doing it usually can make the better adjustments.
I got to push back now. You set yourself up, Bob. What adjustments did they make when he's been behind, dude? When he's been behind, he's cruised to a decision loss. He's not even tried to win the fight. Like against Lara, he was befuddled. He just got the decision. He never made an adjustment. Against Bivol, he didn't make an adjustment. Against Mayweather, he didn't make an adjustment. Where has he made the adjustment when he needed to?
Against those slick boxers.
Where he's won, he was winning from the start. There was no adjustment. Now, I give him credit for the Golovkin rematch. They made an adjustment in the gym and then
hold on. You got to keep
it on the fly.
Hold on. The one thing you got to remember. When he fought Golovkin, it was Reynoso that's what run him trainer of the year. He goes, I need this round, and it has to be the best round you've ever fought in your life.
Point made.
You know, so he has made some adjustments.
He's like a lawyer.
I want you on my side, Bob.
Bob, point made.
Yeah, but again, yes, I get it. There's been some fights where they've been behind and maybe, but you can kind of make some of those things.
We may have to see that
too.
We may have to see that from Bomac tomorrow. We haven't seen it, right? Because Crawford's been pretty dominant the whole time. I mean,
well, the Sean Porter fight, you're down.
The Porter fight,
and he goes out there and stops him the next round. It's pretty epic.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty epic.
You guys are making some good damn points. That's what I'm talking about. You see?
See?
That's why I'm here. You guys should be watching, and that's why I'm here listening. You see? Even though I do talk. Sorry, guys.
But it's this idea that kind of who gets behind and how that person deals with it could be this fight. Because these are two guys that, obviously for the Crawford, of course, having never lost, Canelo, Mayweather and Bivol, this idea that who is behind.
And Lara, to Paulie's point.
Yeah, Lara.
My fighter, Lara. I
had Lara winning that fight.
I thought Lara won it too. But this idea, I'm not kissing your ass. I thought Lara.
We never got
one. You would have got a rematch. You see, this guy doesn't give rematches.
But this idea that, are they behind? Do they believe they're behind? And what adjustments do they have to make once they are behind? That could be key. These are not guys that often have to fight from that position. Chris, is that maybe the telling factor here? It's easy to sit on a lead, but when you're behind, you believe you're behind, you got to make changes. That could be the difference in this fight, Chris.
I think without question, historically, Crawford is the more coachable guy in terms of being able to change course. If you when Bomac goes, you're behind, and he goes, I am? All right.
Yeah.
He didn't need to believe him. He heard him and he goes, okay. That's it. He's a junkyard dog. I'm telling you. He could fight in a closet. He's going to be just he's going to be just as mean. And that's why when we're talking about the bright lights, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for Crawford. He's not going to hear any of that. He's going to see Canelo and Canelo's eyes and his soul. That's the only thing he's going for. And he's going to look in Bomac's eyes in the corner, and he's going to listen to every word he says. He's not going to hear a goddamn thing outside of that. So, in terms of coachability, I'm going Crawford once again. I'm leaning to that side. Man, Crawford's different. I always joke. You say this guy's that he's an alien to me. The way that he's able to fight, the way he's able to find things out, and the way he's able to make things work. I mean, the way his finishing abilities, his ability to change. He's formless. It's almost like a Bruce Lee type style where there is no style. It's a style of no style because he does things different with everybody. He switches sides. You're fighting two guys. If you start beating him lefty, he turns righty. It's a wild thing to watch.
Well, we have a main event with a Mexican fighter. We have an American fighter against him. We've talked to a bunch of different nationalities. Uruguay needs to get on board. Sampson Lewkowicz, of course. we got to bring him in, represent Uruguay. Look, in all your years of boxing experience, man, when you look at this fight, I don't know if you listen to what we're talking about. This back and forth about corners, about fighters, about experience, about edge. Brings excitement because it seems like every time we talk about it, opinions change. What are your thoughts on it?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, we want your thoughts on it.
What's your thoughts on this, man? All this energy and the idea that every time we talk about a different aspect of this fight, the opinions change completely. It's that close.
Well, I believe that I have a different opinion of many of the experts. Yeah. I believe it will finish in a controversial decision, and it's all depending on the judges.
Interesting. And what's the decision you think?
It'll be controversial either way.
Well, draw? I've looked at the judges. They're very pro-Canelo judges. I will say that.
Maybe we get a draw, 25-1. Maybe Jessie Vargas is onto something.
So, Sampson, is it your idea that it'll simply be no matter what decision we get is going to be controversial, that it's going to be that close, or do you think it'll be a little too wide for comfort? What's your thought on controversial?
No, it'll be a very close fight. Yeah. And the only way to not to be close is if we get Crawford get knocked out and probably in late 9-10 rounds. But I strongly believe that it will be very controversial.
Well, this idea and the other side of the coin, and the people have talked about, well, with the size disparity, we might get a little bit dud of a fight, a little bit past their prime. Maybe we're anticipating a better fight than we're actually going to get. What you're saying is that either way, we're going to have people on one side or the other. That it's almost impossible to get out of this fight without any controversy.
Other than a knockout.
Yeah. What's your thought about that, Bob?
I agree. If it's a close fight, everybody's gonna like their guy. For me, I don't got a dog in the hunt. I'm just looking at it. I can't wrap my head around going up one weight class and then jumping up two more. I just can't wrap my head around that. I can't see it being done, but maybe I'll be proven wrong tomorrow night.
Pacquiao did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Not as
easier.
quickly.
It's easier, but it's easier from the
Your
littler,
guy did it
it's
too,
easier,
Robert, right?
I know, but it's easier from the littler weight classes because, like, when Robert did his case, 22 to 26, 26 to 30, 30 to 35.
47.
But when you're
crazy.
but I'm saying, but when you're going 47 to 68,
Yeah. And
Wait, there's only the one
Canelo's
fight.
also
Right.
he's been at 75 and down. And
man, that's why it's hard for me
Yeah.
to wrap my head around that.
Listen, on paper you look at that and you're like, well, that's the answer.
What
But-
they say? A good big man beats a great little guy.
Well,
Used to be the saying.
don't ask Crawford that. He'll jump down your throat about
They
that
used,
one.
they used to say that. Then the opposite started happening, though.
So, Sampson, what's your thought on the power disparity? A lot of people, including Bob Santos next to me, is saying that the power of Canelo is going to be very difficult for Crawford to overcome, even with his boxing skill. What's your belief?
Well, I believe that Canelo said that 25 pounds is the only thing that he bring Benavides to him, that he doesn't need to fight with 25 extra pounds. And I believe that now it's in the other way, in the other side of the table, that he will bring 20 pounds
Exactly.
on top of that.
Bingo.
And that is the reason that if he lose, I mean, he's the face of boxing now, but boxing, it will never die, and it will be somebody else. Maybe Benavides, maybe not.
It
but-
should be Benavides.
That's who I think it is. I think it's
it should be Benavides. No two ways about it.
Well, but the reason I say that because I'm the promoter of Benavides. I don't
No,
want to-
Sam-
Well, I'm not saying that.
Sampson,
I'm not,
he's
I'm
a
not
hell
his
of a
promoter.
fighter.
I think it's going to be him too. So
He can fight.
Yeah,
He can
it-
box. He's the whole package.
Good looking, articulate.
He's the whole package. Benavides is a
and trust me,
monster.
when it was in one time Mayweather, it was in one time Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.,
Oscar De La Hoya,
Oscar De La Hoya,
Sugar Ray Leonard.
so many that Trinidad, Tito Trinidad, my dear friend. I mean, always, it will never die, boxing. And I believe what's going on in our boxing in this moment with, with the active Muhammad Ali or whatever, you can bring any bums, but we come up on top because our culture is a boxing is to have 4 titles, not only one.
What's your thought on Victorious Crawford? He said in the press conference, they said, what's on your mind? He said, if I win this fight, I am the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time. There is no debate. I am number one. With your years in boxing, what do you think of that statement? Should he win against Canelo, even if it's by decision? Pound-for-pound greatness, is that Crawford?
Well, so now is the new face in boxing. You know what I mean? But it'd be very hard to comply and beat it in Vegas. You can ask so many fights that it was very close and it went to Canelo, especially with Lara.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you never know. But, I'm a Latino, and I have so many Mexican boxers that I need to go and say maybe Canelo to win, my wish. I'm sorry, it's not. You know what I mean? Because in his legacy, he will never ever fight Benavides. Benavides, it was in the minute, doesn't matter who I put it in front of them from day one, he never say no. Not because he's softball or whatever. He took everyone. And this is what boxing need. And Canelo is all this excuse, but I believe that the mistake that doesn't fight Benavides, it will carry on all his legacy, and then in a way, it's my fault, to be honest, because when I got Benavides, and that is true story. Eddie Reynoso told me, "Can I have Benavides for sparring?" I told him no, because he would hurt Canelo. I know Canelo from Pro Debut. So I imagine that it was enough not to fight him. And that is true. So,
because then Benavidez became the monster.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. But by the way, maybe Eddie Reynoso will say that it's not true.
Hey, but Sampson,
You know,
But
Sampson,
but
we
he
know
said that
we
it's
know
not
you
true.
got the experience, Sampson. We know you got
hey,
the
Sampson, but real
so-
quick, don't forget, you got Lucero, baby Canelo, Puro Mexico. Don't forget about Isaac Lucero. We got
I
a
know,
fighter
but-
together. He's looked just like Canelo, 154 pounder, redhead,
No,
the whole
but
package.
But the point, that point is that Eddie Reynoso will say that I never sent a contract approved by Showtime in that time for over $40 million. So maybe we would say that is not true. But I promise to you that I don't lie. I told him it would hurt Canelo, and he was in that time. He was not a champion. He was,
David,
Mexican
David was not a
monster.
champion. Yeah.
no, he was the red flag, bandera roja.
Yeah, but Sampson, anybody within the boxing business knows your history and where you come from, and you're a stand-up guy, and also you bring the sleeper top fighters that a lot of people don't know about. So at the time when you were talking about when David was not champion yet, and probably David was not known, David was already probably dangerous. It is your style to bring those kind of fighters when people they're not yet known, they show up and kick ass. You've got a reputation for that.
He brought Pacquiao.
He
brought Pacquiao to the United States.
I've seen
He brought-
Sampson. I've seen Sampson fighters show
Enough
up.
said.
I've seen Sampson fighters show up as replacement opponents against known entities and come in and just beat ass. It's for my whole life in boxing, this guy finds the talent on top of the talent that nobody
But
else finds.
who do you think
So,
gave-
so
Dolly,
and he's got
don't
great
say-
stories of how he does it too, which is why this guy's one of the jewels of boxing. Dude, you got to write a book, Sampson.
Paul-
One day, I hope
Paulie.
you write a book because honestly, you guys great story, and that's why when you tell stories like this, we
believe you.
We know your history. We know your history in the sport. It is an excellent history.
Hey, Paulie, who do you think brought me Luis Torres that had that big win on Pro Box?
Oh, right here, this guy.
There you
Right
go.
here,
Surprise me.
Sampson. That's why I'm getting my new gym, thanks to Sampson. Without him and the fighters he brings me, I wouldn't be getting a new gym. I'd still be sweeping floors.
If you didn't see this guy in the opposing corner,
Yeah, you're
you don't know
you're
what
in.
it is, you better
You're in
be in
for a
for a
tough night.
surprise. It's a tough night.
But I again, Mexican is a factory of make the best fighters in the world. And when Canelo he beat Dan, he beat many others, and one of those, I telling you, like I say Benavidez, I'm telling you Isaac Lucero, Puro Mexico.
Let's go, baby.
That it will be something very special, as well as Coreano and many others that that is coming from Mexico. So always boxing will be, and forget about TKO, it will not succeed, especially the way we treat. I heard, because I'm in Vegas, I have nothing to do with that. I will not go even to say hello to anyone. But the way he treat the management, the way he treat the corners and the fighters, it will not succeed because, first of all, the most important thing is for the manager is to be next to his fighters and give him, good luck and be with them and show him, love. And these fighters, they have nothing. He have only his corner, and he cannot see his management. He cannot see his family because he need to pay after 4 tickets. He need to pay whatever. I never saw anyone beside Sebastian Fundora that he said, whoever wants to see me need to pay the tickets. He never asked for tickets. We give him the ticket. We force him sometimes to get tickets. But this is a special kid that doesn't request tickets, all his family. But beside that, I can imagine many of those kids that his whole family is coming to see him, and he doesn't have a place to sit. You need to pay for that. I don't say, at least 4 and 4 tickets for ringside for a certain price. This is normally what he. Everybody
Not knowing how to network within a business you come into as a stranger is not a good recipe for success, because the business will eventually alienate, or you'll alienate yourself in the business, and he's on his way to doing that. Along the same lines, I can remember, and I'm sure Jimmy, you know about this story because I heard it, when they got the Reebok contract in the UFC, they used to have to give back the robe or the towel, but you talk about cheap. That's unbelievable. Like every fighter had to go back and give the Reebok stuff back. They walk into the ring with the Reebok stuff, and then they had to give it back.
No, that can't.
So
Paulie,
Sampson,
is that
it's along
true,
the
Jimmy?
same lines as paying for tickets.
That I don't know. I don't know. I got
Wow.
I got a free pair of shoes. That's all I know about it. I did get a free pair of shoes out of it. Sampson, thank you so much for your time, man. Enjoy the fights tomorrow. We always appreciate your time, man.
I'm telling you, I've been enjoying because it's for free.
There you go. Enjoy it for free, Sampson. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. God bless you all.
God bless.
Appreciate you, man.
Love you, brother.
This idea that what he said, which was like so interesting to hear, like, look, we're gonna get a controversial decision.
Yeah.
Either way, we're gonna get a controversial
Said it so
decision.
calm.
Unless we have a wipeout one way or the other. Good point.
If it's close, it's gonna. Obviously, things are subjective.
Draw.
Yep.
I'm going. I'm
Are
going right
you
to the
putting
Hard
some
Rock
money,
Casino.
some side money on
Yeah,
the draw?
I'm going to the Hard Rock.
I'm
Casino.
putting
Jessie
money on
Vargas
draw.
said draw.
Really?
I'm putting money on a draw.
Throw $100. What was it 25 to 1? Throw $100 at it.
That's, nothing wrong with 100 on that, huh?
$100 on that.
What was
not
it?
Bad.
That's we call that a sprinkle. We're gonna sprinkle a little bit on draw.
B-Hop Jermaine Taylor. Remember that was almost a draw. I knew some friends that I'd put like 100 on the rematch, I believe, and they were like, "Dude, this looks like it might be a draw," and it wasn't. Obviously, Jermaine Taylor ended up winning the second fight, but man, they were right.
Yeah.
They were so close.
When it's that close, you can taste it.
Yeah, it almost tastes that draw, but excellent show. Again, we will be doing pre-show, watch along, post-show. It's an all-day thing here at Boxing Scene today. We're going to have all the guests in the world. I got my water gun for Paulie to give them time to do their thing. It is cocked and loaded. Remember, hashtag Boxing Scene. Keep those hands up. Hashtag Boxing Scene today. Let us know your questions, your comments. We will deal with them all night and all day. Thank you so much for joining us. Chris might even take off his sunglasses. We'll see you tomorrow. Fight time. Be there with us.
Join us for the marathon tomorrow because it's a late night.
It's gonna be 2 a.m, so glasses are on.